Oh, I forget it doesn't end. Anyway, hello and welcome to another chat. Okay, hold on, he's here. Okay, there we go.
Here.
All
I'm here.
right.
Sorry about that. I don't know why my camera's looking all goofy right now. I apologize about that, but
I just
it's
thought it
being
was
all silly.
just. I just thought it was just you in general, though.
I mean, I am a goofy looking son of a gun.
Well, I mean, the beard kind of lends itself to that credence, though. So there you
You
go.
know.
Unless you're trying to look like a ZZ Top. I mean,
In which case I'd be still very short of the beard.
that beard looks like it could take over the world. But anyway, my name is, of course, Daramouthe or Dara for sure. I know so many people want to say Daramouth, but that's not true. That's not how it sounded out. So don't even try. I'm watching you all. But anyway, I get to be joined by none other than the tropical thunder himself, Tundra Tactical.
Hello, my friend. How are you? And I owe you the apology of sorry it took so dang long to figure this all out and line up events, but we
Yeah,
are here.
the stars have aligned. Thank goodness. I was starting to get a little worried. Neptune wouldn't hurry up.
Right?
Um, no, you're all right. Look, you know what? Waiting. If someone has to end up taking a while, guess what? I have other people on the wing to try to
It's all good.
come on. And nothing against. It's just some people. It's a funny thing with this ordeal with content creation. I won't stay on it long, but you
Oh,
get
it's
to you
I could talk about it for ages too, man.
the funniest thing for me is that a lot of people have a lot of different reasons of why they do this thing, but a big chunk of it usually comes back to views and money,
Sure.
because you come to people coming from YouTube who, some people ask them to try Rumble. They're like, yeah,
I can talk all about that. I'm a
yeah,
convert.
hey, you know what? You're looking pretty good for a convert. Without a gun in hand, obviously
Zing.
without a
Well,
gun in hand.
hey, I will say this right out the gate. If you're live on YouTube, I can't, according to their rules, unless they've changed them, I can't show you any guns because I
That's
could get
true.
you in trouble. So,
That's
as much as I'd love to go on that, but because you've gone live on YouTube, I don't want to get you in trouble. Like I said, so
You're fine. I usually don't. I've already had someone drop the bundle of sticks word on here before, so I think I'm good for now.
fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough.
but no, it's just the whole. I usually try to. There are different sections of this because it's
Hmm.
platform adjacent stuff like Twitch, YouTube, Kick, all this stuff. They all have their islands. Uh, although YouTube and Twitch are sort of oceans in that regard, but that's a
Sure.
different point. But in learning about this content creator sphere, because I'm sort of like this person over here with building my own sandcastle, and everyone else is just trying to like not razz each other, but it feels
Sure.
like to some degree the people do. Um, and it comes to me that it's not much different than when you went to high school. There's still some egoism.
That's a great comparison. Actually, I've never thought of it that way, but
Yeah.
you are so unbelievably spot on.
Yeah. Well, there's egoism, there's
Yep.
elitism, uh um there's sort of this snide, sneery, passive aggressiveness. It's all the. I mean, technically, you could find this anywhere. A job, if you're
Sure.
working 9 to 5, if you do stuff, maybe you work for the city, something like that. You could find this almost anywhere. The problem of it is, though, is you want to try to have a honest conversation with someone about like, okay, so why did you block me, that sort of thing, because I've been blocked by a few people I've had on as guests before, and no reason is usually given. It's sort of like, okay, you blocked me,
Then you
why?
got to try to reverse engineer why it happened.
Yeah, and sometimes there's no reason. Usually
Sure.
majority of the people I've responded to have been positive or whatever, or at least in a neutral sense, like I'm not trying to be like a down or
Yeah, no, I
whatever.
get what you're saying.
But it's really hard to have me block someone unless you really come, even if I really, really bad would have to be the case. But for me, it's just like I'm sitting here trying to do this thing, which is just reaching across the table, talking to a whole bunch of people like yourself, or someone who doesn't do content creation at all. Like I've had people on who don't even show their face. I've had VTubers
Sure.
on. But the point of the matter is I'm doing this thing that really not seeing other content creators do. But I mean, you do what you do. Don't listen to me about content creation. Just give me my perspective. It's it just comes to this point of what what is content creation as a whole to the individual versus when they get into groups or when they get into communities or when they get into this thing where it it's the content creator sphere is a weird amalgamation of all that stuff that was in high school.
Sure.
Maybe the movie high school and maybe real life high school, but there's an amalgamation of both right there. And it's just like, is there no one who's adult enough to just say, hey, let's privately have a conversation? It just feels like, I don't know.
There's very few people out there that'll do it.
And it's just like
Even in my side of the, the firearms community isn't immune to that as well. And I've been fortunate enough to never really have a massive like public disagreement with somebody, but I've had some behind the scenes things.
yeah,
And fortunately for me, I think everything's kind of worked itself out just over time.
that's good.
With all of those people, either that or it was me just being paranoid about something that didn't exist. So there is that too. Like I learned that I suffer from, even now, I suffer from a horrible case of imposter syndrome. Anywhere I go, in any group that I'm in, any stream that I'm on, like I have horrible anxiety over it. Not to the point where it's like debilitating, but it causes me a massive amount of anxiety because I sit there and I'm like, I don't know these people. Will they like me? Because that's my goal. You talk about content creation. My goal is to get you to like me as fast as humanly possible. Because
whoa. There's a few ways to do that, but that involves doing a little down and dirty.
Hey, you never know. You never know. I will neither confirm nor deny that is in my repertoire. Okay? I'm just saying, $20 is $20, and sometimes you gotta get stuff done.
Hey, you know what? When the party's all right, it comes a light. That's all I'm saying.
At the end of the day, I had to learn a lot about myself too. I had to learn a lot that I wasn't as big of a problem as I thought I was, and that I didn't have to be as defensive about myself, or I didn't have to feel like I was lesser or beneath anybody. When I've had the luxury now, and this is, I apologize if this comes off as braggadocious or whatever the word is I'm looking for here. But I've had the opportunity to call some very, very big YouTubers and very, very big content creators my good friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've watched them grow from little guys, like along me, and some of them have had meteoric success. One of my best friends in the entire world, some of the viewers may know who he is if they're in the firearms world, is Brandon Herrera. He ran for...
I've heard that name.
Ran for office down in Texas. He's a massive gun tuber, owns his gun companies and all that stuff. Mr. AK-50 himself, insanely talented content creator and an unbelievably driven human being. Mr. Guns and Gear, another one. These are all like these, huge names that I grew up watching, right? I grew up on YouTube watching these dudes, and now I'm sitting at the dinner table with them having dinner.
Nice.
And so it's tough not to feel a little bit of imposter syndrome from that point on.
Right.
Or not from that point on, excuse me, but from that perspective. But it is also like you were bringing yourself to the point of these unknowns and these challenges that you face in the content creation world. You got the clicks, you got the high school stuff. I'm losing my train of thought. I apologize. I'm trying to grab it back. The end result here is keep in mind that you have an effect on yourself too.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate point that I'm trying to make. And I was my biggest anchor.
Yeah.
Not letting myself run and move fast enough. I thought I had to intentionally slow myself down so that I wasn't seen as this like over eager beaver, people pleaser that was trying to get out and be everybody's best friend. And sometimes in certain communities that doesn't always go over well.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear that TT guy is a big beaver? What?
Right? I know, man. Gee.
He's got the beard to match it, bro.
Exactly. It's never been shaved.
Oh, goodness. I hate to find it. Sort of like it reminds me of that Family Guy episode where Peter grows the beard. And
these people have wrote books about it. Let's be honest. There have been explorations sent out.
We lost Timmy. Where'd he go?
He got trapped in the beaver.
Hold on. That's a little... that you might just want to say beard because beaver can... I don't think
the beaver beard will come back. I apologize. 2 seconds if I lose my camera. I'm going to try to reset it to see if I can't get rid of the weird aspect ratio here.
You're fine. Oh no, see, wow.
It'll come back in a sec. Or dear God, I hope it will come back in a sec. Watch now. It doesn't.
Sometimes in life things get an improvement when they're gone. So right?
Just brutal. Maybe I'm better just as a voice. I'm dead serious. I don't know what happened to my camera right here. There it goes.
Oh, there it is. It didn't change it.
Didn't fix it, but hey, we're here.
Hey, you know what? It makes you look a lot thinner though, so take that as it
Hey,
is.
man, you are throwing them all over the board today. I love them. I love it. Let's keep it going.
You know what? You're a piece of no,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
and I kind of get that because there's a part of me that wants to be able to talk to those type of people that are considered big. I've
Sure.
had a few on that are considered big, but I don't. Hey, Furious Dan, I hope you're doing
Hey,
well.
Furious Dan, how you doing, buddy?
But my thing is, I don't reach out to these people. I mean, yes, I guess the initial part of it is yes, I do reach out to them because they're considered big and
Sure.
whatever. But the extended point is not because of that. It's because I mean, you're a person and I'm a person, right? We
Exactly.
come from
Yeah.
different areas and all this stuff. But the point of the matter is that we can come to this table and your numbers and anything that precludes you, whether you're a creator or not, doesn't matter because
I like that process.
it
I
it
like
it
that
just
thought process.
well, and the thing of it too is like I've watched a lot of creators do, their entertainment to politics, all this sort of stuff. So you've got maybe something there, and I've come across some people in the way who do sort of something similar, like free flowing, whatever. But the point of the matter is like I don't have topics. I know it was like I think you asked, and I think other people have asked like,
Sure.
what are the topics? And you're like, um,
Nothing. Free ball it.
no, yeah,
I can dig it, man. I really can because like at the end of the day, a lot of it's a lot of work. Number one.
yeah,
Number two, not everybody vibes with the whole like ultra structured, topic set thing.
yeah,
I've experimented. I've been doing live streaming now for coming on 7 years, I think, 7, 8 years. And so I've experimented a lot with either the structured format, doing like 15-minute segments, half an hour segments, hour long, depending on how long the show ends up going. And it works well for some people, and it does not work
mm,
well for others. I have had absolute train wreck streams where I've had somebody like myself on
yeah.
who is just I will warn you already. I should have done this in the beginning, but I have the most like debilitating case of ADHD you've ever encountered in your entire life.
You're
Um,
you're not the
in
first.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Normally, when people say it, they're like saying, "I've got really bad ADHD, squirrel." Right? For me, it's life alteringly bad.
Uh,
Like I cannot focus hardly at all, and when I get on a long sentence, I'll just lose my train of thought right there.
yeah,
So, I apologize if I do that to you, and I
okay.
apologize to the fans if I do that to you guys right out
Uh,
the gate. But when it comes to this type of stuff, this is where I thrive, is in
uh,
that kind of free flowing,
mm,
no format, if you will.
yeah. Yeah, it's sort of I've always tried to try to frame it as like, it's like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music where she's on top of the hill, she's just like, "The hills
Sure.
are alive," that sort of stuff.
I
But
mean, great rendition.
and for my next
Yeah.
rendition, um,
And again.
yeah, well, and there's another person I've had on too. His name is Darnell, and he literally he has coloring books when he's not busy doing this thing.
Sure.
So you're not in a good company,
Fair
um,
enough.
to say the least.
I'm
But
among friends. I like
that
this. This makes
that
me
is,
feel happy and comfortable, and now I'll say wild shit.
and then here's a Snickers just for you. It's like you feel better,
Hey!
but it's it's just I followed a lot of different content creators. A various degree, not like straight on GunTuber or
Sure.
whatever. But the point of the matter was is that they they were following the system of appeasing the out not all of them, but some of them were doing the appeasing of following the algorithm or whatever it is.
Sure.
And and for me it's like
Guilty of that too.
I I'm not being mean about it. My thing is I know I do this thing that doesn't get a lot of views or whatever, but it has the most potential because it has the most opportunity. Because
Are you talking about this show in
yes,
particular? Okay.
their chat. Yes, their chat because
Gotcha.
it can go anywhere. You know,
I like
it's it's not stuck to is it about just entertainment? No. Is it about just guns or 2A or whatever you want to
Sure.
call it? No. Is it just about politics? No. It is about the culmination of it all.
I
I,
like it.
I'm
It
not saying
leaves
I'm
you
an
so
expert.
open-ended and so
Yeah.
free to do whatever you wanna do that day.
Yeah.
I
Because
like
I think it's just you have a lot. This is just coming from me, so don't take it personally. There are a lot of content creators out there who have thousands upon
it.
thousands
Mhm.
of followers. How many of them have you ever seen them talk to someone who's not a content creator?
Elaborate more. Are you talking about like my followers and their engagement with other content creators? Or are you talking about like in real life?
Well, let me try to break it down because I may have overstepped myself.
No, you're
So
not. You're
you
good.
have a lot of content creators who have 1,000 followers, 10,000, 15,000, whatever.
Sorry.
They have a lot of followers, right? In that regard, how many of them do you ever think has reached out to their crowd and asked one of their people come on their show?
Sure. Okay. Well, I can raise my hand on this.
Okay,
I can raise my hand multiple times on this. Actually,
nice.
probably hundreds of times on this. I an interesting fact about the Tundra Nation, which is kind of what we call our collective audience,
Uh-oh.
um, is that I recruit exclusively from those guys. Anybody that is currently on my team,
Mhm,
including my paid employees,
mhm. Oh,
started off as a fan.
oh,
I have never gone outside of my own community
right.
for that because boy, this is getting on a soapbox a little bit, and I apologize once
Oh,
again.
you're fine.
But I wanted to give people the opportunity that nobody ever gave me, and bring them
Um,
into a gun tuber world, or bring them into the content creation world, show them what it's like, say, hey, you
yeah,
can do this too, and I'm going to help you do it.
right.
And so how I do that is I use the platforms, right? And then we just
Hmm.
kind of, are you familiar with the concept of a sales funnel? You have
I've not.
I'll give you the super easy breakdown. Like,
Right.
think of it as a funnel, right? You pour oil into your car through a funnel, right? You got the big
Yeah,
wide top, really skinny bottom. And the
yeah.
point is your big wide top is your main audience, right? That's where all your views go. The mass amount of people that see your content live in this big wide top. I
Mhm,
need to distill down the valuable audience member to that little drip that comes out at the end. Okay.
mhm.
How I do that is with clicks, right? So you find the people that will click a like button. Okay. That's a significantly lower percentage than your overall audience that will click a
Right,
like button. Then you find somebody who will comment. Okay. Significantly lower percentage. Then you find somebody that'll do both, right?
right.
Right. And then you find somebody that'll do both consistently. And then
Hmm.
those people you toss a Discord link to,
Mm,
right? And then those people hop in your Discord and they all get to know each other and have fun, and you build up a really cool community of about 1,000 people. And
mm.
now, whenever I want, not whenever I want, excuse me, but like whenever I need, let's say we have a big project coming up and I
Okay.
need an extra video editor on it. Instead
Huh,
of going to Fiverr and getting some guy who has no idea about the community, who has
okay.
no idea about the touch or the tone or
Right.
anything with my audience, right? Now
Mhm.
it's the actual audience members that are doing the same thing. And for us, it's very, very important, or for me, I guess, it's very, very important that those people come from my community,
Right,
or the gun tuber community in general, really,
right.
um, because of the content that I do and
Yeah.
how incredibly, I don't know, I'm a professional asshole, effectively. That is what people pay me to do. If you guys are
Right.
unfamiliar with Tundra Tactical, people pay me money to roast them, and
Wow.
that is what I do.
Jeez.
So it's very fun. It's very strange. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I'd be doing this professionally, I probably would have slapped you in the face and laughed. But I am here now, and this is this. Turns out I'm halfway decent at it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I love the fact that you're asking that question. It is a very important question to ask to a lot of these content creators: is why aren't we looking at our audiences? Why aren't we bringing people in? Because there are a lot of people out there, Dara, like you and me,
Mhm.
that may have taken a slightly different path and not ended up in the content creator space. But how cool would it be to meet somebody that would be willing to bring us in and show us the ropes and build us up? Provided that we showed enough loyalty to the channel, or provided that we were,
Right.
effectively saying like, "Hey, this is something that we want." Obviously, I'm not going to like toss out an offer to the first person that shows up. I'd really appreciate it if you were a qualified, fan of the channel. I don't care what
Right.
your skills are.
Hmm.
Like, I'll teach you to edit. I can teach any human being to edit in 30 days. But if that, but
It's a good sales pitch, though.
yeah, fair enough. Maybe that's a whole nother website.
No,
But yeah, that's
yeah.
that's kind of my bit. So I definitely can raise my hand on that one. I'm proud
No,
of that.
no. No, I get you're coming from a more business-like aspect of it in a
Uh,
sense. So I know where you're coming from. Alright, I understand where you're coming from, but my aspect is quite different because I'm not
oh, okay.
this is I have a full-time job. So
Fair
this
enough.
is not a business for me. My thing has always been about reaching across the way to people, whether they're creator or not. So I don't
Oh, you're just looking for stories.
people to chat with. Like
That's awesome. That's
I've had
even better.
Well, to give an example, right? The first person I had on, her name is Zora, and I didn't call it Darachat back in the day. It was sort of
Okay,
like not until maybe sometime the beginning of 24 or whatever. But the thing of it was is that's where that whole thing clicked for me of because I was doing gaming streams. I
sure.
was more like just streaming a modded Minecraft was really what
Oh,
I
I
was
was just
doing.
gonna ask you, what do you play? Fair enough.
I can't I will say though, I have gone back and started playing the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, which is opened so many doors because you can do add-ons and stuff, or sort of like
Sure,
their own mini version of mod packs, but that's a different story. So that's what I started with was doing that. I actually started doing pre-record like recorded videos because I
gotcha.
couldn't
Yep.
stream to um Rumble because at the time was like the 5 follower sort of thing. I had to have 5 followers. And then at a certain point, you could pay for the like the $10 thing, pro plan or whatever, and you could
Yeah, I
bypass
remember
it.
that.
So that's what I did after a certain point. But beforehand, it was pre-recorded video. I would just talk about whatever, and then at a certain point, I was streaming like me playing Minecraft, and that was sort of like that was just like meh. It was like all right, and I wasn't really too hung up on the ordeal. I was just trying to find what do I want to do with this, right? That's the first building block is what do I want to do with this, right? You can tell any person like because I've heard this question asked before. What do I do? How do I start? Oh, you can get a camera. You can
Sure.
buy. You can tell that all day long. But the point of the matter is, anyone could do that. But what do they want to do with
I
this
like
thing?
it. You gotta have a reason. You gotta have a want or a why to
Yeah,
drive you and motivate you, definitely.
yeah. And so it wasn't until Zora, who I've had on a few other times later on over time, that this thing of just having a conversation with someone about whatever, right? Because it does feel like a lost art form to just. I mean,
Sit down and talk.
yeah, to sit down and talk because there's no expectation of expertise. But I mean, I know you're 2A, so there's a form of expertise
Sure.
to know, or just to teach,
But,
right?
I mean, there's a chance we don't even talk about that tonight. We're just going
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
I dig
exactly.
that. I dig that completely, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, in a degree, I understand where you're coming from, but there's a different aspect of how I do this because I don't really. I mean, I've made a community thing on Twitter X, but I can't do a Discord thing. There's only so much I can
Sure.
mentally handle because I
I'm
already have
bro,
enough.
no, gosh darn. I am right there with you. Ugh. It's
And it's
to me, I have to make a conscious decision. Do I focus on X? Do I
yeah.
focus on whatever?
Yeah,
Like I can't do it all at once. I am so behind you on that. That is it's a challenge.
and I've seen these and some of these content creators have, like, these thing I think they call them like, media kits, or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's so much, just so
I
there's, like
have them. I
there's
have them all.
it's like, buy my Ko-Fi, buy this, buy that, and all the merch, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
"What is" and, I get it, I get it, some people come to this business, I get it. You do what you do, don't listen to me about content creation, but for me, it's like, a long time ago,
Mhm.
when YouTube was still the beginning of things, right? Like, it was you just post a video and that was that. You weren't paid at
Very
all,
true.
unless you had a business going through that, because you could make
Sure.
videos about your
You could
business.
drive sales. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it didn't start out with monetization. For me, coming into this aspect now of what it is on almost all platforms is monetization, monetization, monetization. You
Mhm.
either have to earn it or it's already there like Rumble. It changes the aspect of why people create because not
Sure.
and I'm saying everyone, a lot of different people have their points of like, "I just came on and did this thing and whatever." But it does start changing the aspect of why someone creates. Why does someone create, in content creation? Is it because of monetization, or is it because they just wanna do something because they feel this thing to do?
Sure.
And that's where the conflict for me comes from because I've always tried to be honest and humble about it's a bonus for me. Everything
Sure,
beyond the
definitely.
conversation is a bonus for me. But the
I would make a small counterpoint or argument to that as my dog decides to get the zoomies right now. All right, that's outstanding. When you're asking why, and this is not to be combative or nothing, just for the sake of a counterpoint and a
right.
thought process for you in the future.
Yeah,
Why does anybody go to work and choose the job that they choose?
right.
Because they're getting paid for that.
Yeah.
They're being compensated for their time there, so it's effectively something similar.
Mhm,
I would make the counter argument by saying it allows people that are hopefully doing this for the right reasons.
mhm.
It allows them the opportunity to do what they love and find some financial fulfillment in it as well
True.
if they catch the quote unquote, as you said, algorithm, or
Mm,
if they find an audience that resonates with them and wants to support them.
mm,
I think your like macro point here being the dynamic of like the 30,000 foot view of content creation changes when you add money
money
to it.
to it,
And
yeah.
when we're talking the money, like, brother, I cannot tell you how blown away I am at how much money somebody is willing to pay me for my voice. And
Uh,
I can't even imagine what the people above me are getting. So
yeah,
absolutely 100% I can get it. But I would make that point that it is a driving motivator for a lot of people. Why do people go into real estate? Do they love selling homes? No. Well, they probably want to make a buck or two. Just a
possibly.
thought, just a bit of food for thought.
Yeah. No, I understand that there's a wide variety of answer to that question. It's not
Very
simply
good.
a black or white. It's not simply black or white. But for me, the aspect becomes why do you care? And yeah, you have a point of saying, oh well, because it allows, and yeah, you are correct, but we you have an issue of where it becomes overbearing when
Absolutely,
you have
absolutely,
yeah,
because it will change you. It's not if it will change you. When there's money on the line, 100%, it will change you. If you guys are out there watching right now and you're listening to my voice, it did not sound like this 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
uh,
I was a lot softer spoken.
uh,
I didn't quite have the radio voice all the way through. I actually did go to school for it. I went to
mm,
school for audio engineering, and
ooh,
I had a little bit of voice work mixed in there.
nice.
So I had an idea, but yeah, it didn't start like this. And
Mm,
as time went on, and as I started realizing, I woke up one day and I realized I was making more money online than I
yeah,
was at my day job. So I'm losing money going to work.
yeah,
Bye.
yeah,
You know, now we're here, and I realize when you don't have paid vacation
yeah,
every day, you don't get sick days, right?
yep,
You don't get vacation, you don't get sick days, you don't get time off if somebody dies, you don't get
yep,
bereavement, right? Okay. You don't get anything unless you want to give up the money that you'd be making that day. And that
yes,
has been a ridiculous challenge for me.
yeah,
If I'm brutally honest with you, and telling you about like the biggest challenges of content creation, you are so unbelievably spot on when you say it changes you. Especially when you give up your day job and this becomes the way you feed your 5-year-old daughter
your
and
day
your
job,
wife.
yeah,
Um, you really have to take it seriously. And if you don't, well, it's
nobody
not
gets
going to go
fed.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, nobody gets
exactly.
fed.
Fortunately for us, we've been lucky enough to have an audience that has been unbelievably loyal.
Uh,
Big shout out to the Rumble community too here, who picked us up when we were real down and getting kicked hard by YouTube. So,
yeah.
but I don't know. I'm going on one of those long tracks of losing my train of thought. I'll leave it there and let you go on.
No, you're fine. No, yeah, it's funny. It just as a retrospect, right? When someone gets big enough that they can turn this into a business or job, whatever, it does, in a way, become its own 9 to 5 without all the
Oh,
benefits.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It has a lot of pluses to it,
Yeah,
but you're absolutely correct.
yeah. And so for me, it's sort of like it's sort of giving up one aspect you feel is, after a while becomes unnecessary. Like you said, you
Sure.
make enough and all that stuff. And then you're just taking the chair from your office at that job and just taking that chair and putting it in your office at home.
Dara, I like where your head's at, man. I like where your head's at. You make a lot of really good points, and you absolutely do. Once again, you're 100% spot on. You're you're
Thanks.
gonna what?
No, I'm good. It's okay. No, I'm just joking.
What I would say is it's even more than that. It's probably double that because you're now the CFO, you're the CEO, you're the main employee, you're doing everything. Not to mention that you're probably mid learning stuff too. You're learning editing, you're learning camera work, you're learning microphones, you're learning audio engineering, what have you. Um, I can tell you that without a doubt, you are going to be swamped with 2 to 3 times as much work as you think you're going to have
Mm.
if
If.
you want it to grow.
Yeah.
You can, a lot of people are happy just maintaining, and they say, hey, you know what? I'm making more money now than I was when I was at work. So let's kind of just try to build it up to where that all evens out and everything's happy. And then they can kind of take it at their own pace.
Yeah.
And that is 100% awesome. That is the beauty of content creation. The singular greatest thing about content creation, Dara, is the only way you fail is if you quit or you say some ridiculous shit, right? But the only way you can really fail is if you quit or you get canceled. Go ahead.
Sounds like what you do at your regular job, doesn't it?
Right? It absolutely does. And this is why your point is so spot on. You're not giving up work. You're adding work. I've been in the military. I have
Wow.
been and yeah, I did 11 years in the Air Force.
Oh,
I
wow.
have been doing content creation. I've worked the day jobs. I've done it all.
Wow.
Everything from line work, climbing cell towers to
What?
I was, once I moved into the firearms world, I kind of exclusively started working there. So everything
Yeah.
from gun clerks to RSO, range safety officers, to firearms instructor, concealed carry permit, all this stuff. And yeah, like I've never worked harder in my entire life than I do now.
Yeah. I
Ever.
think and this is just a personal, just a kind of an observation thing. If you enjoy the process you do, then it won't feel like you're working. But you do
Wrong, but close. It
close.
does feel like work. It's just a lot more tolerable.
Yeah, well, okay, yes, there we'll
Sorry.
stick with that. It's just a lot more tolerable. However, you do see a lot of people who go into this and they do want the aspect that they believe is why people do content creation, and they get
Yep.
burnt out. You even
They think
saw
it's easy. They think it's easy. They think it's just make a video, but it's not. It's make a video, sure, then edit that video, teach yourself new tactics, stay in line and up to date with all of the technology out there that affects your industry. Then you have to become effectively an expert on it if you want to have any form of voice. Well, okay, you can be an expert. You can say whatever you want. It's just will people take you seriously? A lot of the times people do take people seriously who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Excuse my language.
you're
But
fine.
that's the way she goes. So
Yeah.
sorry to
Well,
introduce.
no, you're fine. No, that's a good point to make. It's just I
Rise and
for me,
grind.
rise and grind. The point of my giving my perspective is that while I've heard those kind of questions asked, like how do you start and all that stuff, and of course you have some content creators say, oh, it's hard, it's tough. That's if you fully rely on it to supply your ability to live.
Great input there. So, like awesome because effectively content creation, how I describe it is it's what real estate was in the 80s. I don't know how old you are, but I'm just a hair under 40.
Oh,
And what
congrats.
real estate like in the 80s and 90s, that
Uh,
was the millionaires breakout business, but not everybody did it because
yeah,
it required something that not a lot of people wanted all the time, and that was getting told no
yeah.
constantly.
Oh, yeah.
But if if you had a thick skin
Yeah.
and you could grind, right, you could make bazillions of dollars, and a lot of people did. And content creation's the same way. It
Yeah.
is 100% that same playing field. It is
Yeah.
open to everybody, and
Yeah.
you don't. I guarantee you. Well, if you're watching this, I'm going to make an assumption you have a cell phone. If you
Yeah.
don't, you're probably watching it with access to one,
Yeah.
and you can do it too. The challenge is it's not easy, and you're right. A lot of people think, "Oh, I'm just going to make one viral video, and my life is going to be set." Right?
No.
Well, I've been trying to make a viral video for 9 years,
Mm.
total content creation time with long form contents, a little under a decade now.
Yeah.
Still haven't done it, gotten close a couple of times, but I have one video in its history in those 9 years that is even close to approaching 1 million views.
Mm.
That's it. One.
Yeah.
And so that's not enough money to feed your family. You might think it's enough money,
Yeah.
but that one video has made me a grand total over the course of its
Life.
lifetime
Yeah.
of about $6,000. Now, it's a fair amount of money, but
Yes.
that is not nearly as much money as you think it was going to be.
Well, once you take the taxes away, then it's really not that much money, but,
Well, if you're creative and you're good, I'll say this. I'm not going to tell you how I do my taxes, but I will say this. If you're creative and you're good, this is a business. I write a lot of shit off.
Oh, yeah, that I know of, right? You have to make
Mhm.
a LLC or something like that. I don't have that.
Sole
Um,
proprietorship, LLC, everything. You just go for it. But
yeah. And again, like, with your stuff, like, the stuff I use is Logitech, like, the camera, the
mhm.
light here, the microphone, and I've seen some of those content creators use, like, 1,700, 2,000 microphones and whatnot. I just for me again, I'm coming from well, I'm coming from this as a personal perspective, observing the content creator sphere
Sure.
as I see it, and it's not trying to attack, although some people will attack regardless,
Of course.
obviously. But it's sort of like, why is this thing that way when it's, and of course you've brought up good points too. It's like, if you want to make it a business, you got to do this, you got to do this, and that's understandable. And then I come back with, well, do you enjoy what you're doing? It's like, well,
Another
I
good
mean,
one.
yeah, I maybe, but my reasoning kind of goes again back to the beginning of when YouTube first started out, when there was no monetization and people just posted because they wanted to
It was
post.
just that's just what they were doing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
dig it.
and and uh and
There's a purity in that. There is a kind of a just a bit of a, oh god, this is going to sound really really dumb, but there is just like a bit of a like a white light purity in all of that. Just
yeah,
everybody doing it because there's no money involved. There's no outside motivation, say for like you were saying, if you had a business, you could drive sales through it, obviously. But
yeah,
it was a time. We'll
yeah.
call it that. It was a time.
Yeah, and now you could have something that's very cutthroat or whatever. I'm in this thing because the opportunity that presents itself, which is I get to talk to people almost globally at this point. I've talked to
Heck
people
yeah.
from Australia,
So not
Norway,
almost globally. You're worldwide, baby.
just about. I
You're worldwide.
only the ones who could speak English. If you don't speak English, I apologize. It's not going to work out well.
It's gonna be tough, yeah,
My
until
language,
AI takes over the world and is able to translate it for us in real time. But
yeah, that's not going to work out very well.
no,
Um,
we'll all be enslaved at that point.
Oh, well, that's the downturn people like. And Lucas says, I started to realize that the biggest barrier to entry to streaming and other things I got was myself. Well, yeah,
Sure.
to a degree, but it's also it goes back to the question of why you want to do this thing and what you're going in. Those are the two questions I came up with. And I'm sure someone else has their own questions too, but mine was like, okay, so what?
I think what we're learning in this is it's incredibly specific to the individual. Some
Yes,
people like yourself, you're digging just the vibe of create for the sake of creating. Whatever comes of this, I love the freedom take on this because it is abject freedom.
mm,
Whatever comes of this for Dara is whatever comes of this.
yeah,
If you become the next Joe Rogan podcaster, you're
and
still going to treat this the same way
yeah,
as you would right now. I can tell it about you already. Um,
and the people too, because I think that's where, and this is not to be a downer, and I
yeah,
apologize for interrupting. You do see a lot of content creators who do try to, one, they stay within their niche field of who
mhm,
they bring on, or they bring on someone who raises their status of within that niche field, or bigger. I've seen people
sure.
do more. It's just it it's just with going back to like bringing on people who I've had people on who are followers of a content creator. I've brought on people who don't show their face, VTubers. I've brought on people who are current and former military, like yourself. You'd be surprised how many people are current or former military that I've talked to,
Oh,
and
I
it's
can
a lot.
imagine. There's a lot of us.
Yeah,
Hi, GWAT. Hi, all you silly human beings. If you know, you know.
yeah.
GWAT is a global war on terror veteran. GWAT vets.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. But the getting back to that sort of crystallization, we're gonna call it. There's a power in just conversating.
Mm,
There's
yes,
a power to
absolutely.
it, and it doesn't all it requires is you taking the leap of faith to say, "I'm willing to give this shot," and I've had people on where it's like trying to draw water from stone. Very few people, but that has happened. But guess
That's,
what
by the
that
way, super underutilized phrase and saying.
yeah.
What's the term? Idiom, parable, whatever. I haven't heard that one in ages. Well done on bringing that one back. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's happened a few times where I've had somebody's like, you're like, they're not, um what's the best to describe it? They aren't sure how to respond, and so you're the one asking more questions than anything, and they're just giving little responses back. But that's the challenge that I can take on and say I can get better for the next person because of that person.
Well, and it's really important as a host for a show to be able to pick up. I've been in that exact same situation. To no fault of the guest's own, they just weren't talkative that night. They might have been
Yeah,
having a bad day.
yeah.
Whoever, whatever the reason was, it was exactly like that. Trying to draw water from stone. Such a good line. That is a good line, man. Um,
Probably more
that
biblical than anything else, but that's just a guess.
Probably, but hey, the end of the day, that is the host's job is to drive the conversation and to
Yeah,
drive the the choo choo train wherever we end up getting off. So
yeah.
it's a good experience to have. As much as we all hate it and despise it,
Yeah,
you're right. It does make us better for the
yeah,
next set of set of guests, for the
yeah,
next audience. For me, being the business guy that I am, and the extremely business focused dude that I am, I'm always wondering what business is watching, who's
yeah,
watching me right now, who's in this chat. The 8 people, 10 people, 200,000 people that watch this video. Who knows
yeah,
who is going to watch this and see me representing myself? So
yeah. It's well, and to give
welcome to my anxious life, ladies and gentlemen.
he's got the jitters.
Always.
But yeah, and that's the thing too is where I know if we were to have a professional content creator come to look at my stuff, they said this is ridiculous. You got to change all this stuff to even get there. I'm like, but that's not content creation. That's how to feed the beast, basically.
I honestly, another great take, because if you and I would have had that conversation prior to this right here, it's exactly what I would have told you. I said, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. But at the same time, who am I to tell you what you can and cannot do based on
Yeah,
anything?
that's why I try to always be very specific and like I'm giving my perspective on what I've viewed. You
I like
create
it.
content the way you do, but
I
I mean
like
to come back to the point earlier is that I wouldn't have gotten to this point of having on over 200 various guests if if the point of there are people who want to have a conversation or it is difficult to reach out to people. It is challenging to
Oh
have
man.
a scheduling and all this stuff. But the point of the
Um
matter is like you say, you don't give up on it. But where one says no, I have the possibility. I've had the possibility of the pool I've created of people I've had on. I had maybe people who are followers of a creator or friends of a creator or so forth. I have got tens of hundreds. Well, I won't go that far, but I've got tens of dozens of people behind one person who says no. Can you can you just imagine for the second how powerful that is in the retrospect of just having a conversation?
sure. Absolutely, man.
One
Yeah. I
Yeah, one person says no and a dozen other behind it have the possibility of saying yes. That's powerful. From
sure.
my perspective, that's pretty powerful. Someone may say that's not good enough. I'm like, you don't get it though. You don't get it when you see something that seems like a lost art, conversating about whatever comes away. And yes, it has been a bit long for the content creator thing, but
Yeah,
the
go nuts, man. I'm having fun talking about this. This is great. I don't ever get to do this. This is incredibly liberating for me. I love this stuff because every time I talk on a stream, I'm always talking about guns. So please, by all means, I love content creation talk. This is dope as heck. Do not
how's
feel
that
bad about this.
how's that cult 45? No, I'm
Interestingly enough,
uh,
don't own one.
oh, well, I should stop watching Supernatural then.
Ooh,
But it's it's just it almost drives me crazy because I again going back to watching all those other content creators reaching out to having the possibility of reaching out to your guests to have them on as
sure.
and yes, there is a risk to it. Don't get me wrong. There is a risk to like you have a more business mindset to it, and that's your thing. Great. Very, very good on that. For me though, there is a high risk of you have someone on, and it could be a you could say bad actor, but I say destroyer because those are
Oh,
what they
sure.
want, Jay.
Yeah, I've had people, never a guest of mine before, like intentionally try to tank reputations in streams, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, like, there's a power to it, and I feel like the crazy guy because it's like, do you not understand? There's you may not be able to speak other languages, but you have so many millions of people to have the opportunity to speak with. How is
Sure.
that not fascinating? How is that not a wonderment to people? I don't
It's
get it.
good, man. It is good. We built our show very similar on the early stages.
Yeah,
When we started out, it was guests every week. I did not stream nearly as often as you did at the beginning. I think actually even to this point, we're still pretty much a one firearm stream a week, Saturday night stream a week.
right.
There was a time where I was doing 5 different shows a
Yeah.
week, and then I had 9 pieces of content that went out every week at the peak
Mm,
of everything. You're talking about a job, right?
yeah.
And deadline schedules. It's like working for a magazine or something. It really is. It genuinely is. But oh
Yeah.
fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Dang it. What were we just on? Oh, how we built our show. We had guests on all the time, every show. I didn't ever want to do a show if I didn't have a guest.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I will also apologize to the chat right now if I'm starting to act like a bitch. I just got out of
Oh,
hernia surgery, 3 of
oh,
them 2 days ago. I'd love to show you the scars, but you don't wanna
mm,
see the shaved chest.
mm.
Uh, so if I'm
Well, that may
talking
be
like
that may
this,
be different if there's muscles involved, though. That may
yeah.
be like
Yes. So all I'll say is if I'm coughing like a bitch, I apologize.
Right.
But the audience thing, or not the audience thing, excuse me, the guest thing, for me, I have to commend you in your tenacity to track down a guest and get them on the show. You were, I mean this with like love and saying like this is a good thing. You were in my ear for months and months and months about this to get me on the show. You never gave up, exactly like you said when you said
Mm,
where other people see, a no, you saw an opportunity, you kept going, and
mm,
eventually we found a time that works.
mhm.
Um, for me, my life is insane right now.
Yeah,
You don't need to hear the stories behind
yeah,
all that. The surgery is like the lowest of the the issues
yeah,
that I've been going with.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, you and I got connected. We're on the show together now, and
mm,
that is the quote unquote, as you say, lost art of conversating is happening tonight because I feel completely relaxed, nice, and very at ease, not sitting here talking about firearms or not
yeah.
going down the how did you do what you do and what can you give advice to everybody else. Not that I don't like doing that. It's just
Yeah.
a different take, and I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it.
Well, and I should say that there are some people I haven't gotten back to because it does get hard after a while where you're doing like 3 to 4 emails or whatever, and
That's
there's
what
no
she said.
and well, that's yeah, that's what she said. But there becomes a point where it's kind of hard to keep continuing because you like I said, you have the one person who says no or doesn't say anything at
Sure.
all, and you've got 10 other people, like, they have more possibility of saying yes than this person who's just, like, bogged down by their hundreds of thousands of followers. Look, again, there are people I'd like to have on who are considered big, sure, I'm not gonna admit that, but the problem of it is, though, is, like, I can also have on again, over 200 various guests. If I were to look at, say, the other content creators that I follow, not pointing to you or anything, but the content creators I
Mhm.
followed, it would take them almost a year or more to even have that same amount of guests. And yeah, I don't have to do the way I'm doing it right now. I
I think
don't
I've
do
only done like 6 guests this entire year, dude.
yeah. Well, I don't have to do what I'm doing. I don't have to do like the crazy stuff. I don't have to fill the
Can I
monthly.
ask can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you ever do solo shots? Like
I have
just
done.
talk?
I
Okay,
have
cool. Cool, cool,
I
cool.
I have done. It's just it's
Do you
more
enjoy
of
them?
well, I just go wherever, but usually it's when a guest can't, or I have in the
Gotcha.
past at least done one where I've scheduled it as, but it's more of like I can, again, I know what I
Some
do.
of my best streams that I've ever done,
Mhm.
and the most enjoyable streams that I've ever done was when I used to stream to like 12 people, and all 12 of them were just talking, keeping the chat going, and
Yeah.
we had endless conversation. We would go. I think my record live stream was like 9 hours, where we
Oh,
just went and
yeah,
talked. So that part, once again, like I'm right there with you. I really genuinely love that. And so just as a thought, if you hadn't done it before, I was going to recommend doing a solo shot
yeah.
and just getting the chat really razzed up or into it and
Mm,
get the conversation going that way, because that's another great form of conversating and another great form of interaction that we don't always, or that a lot of content creators, myself included, take advantage of because we see it as words on a screen. And sometimes it's as fleeting as that to us.
yeah,
It gets clicked on and then clicked off and then gone, and we
yeah,
don't ever think about it again. Every now and again, you get a comment that really means something,
yeah,
but a lot of the time, just due to the internet being full of a lot of idiots, right?
yeah,
We build up a lot of thick skin a lot of very quickly, and we kind of just
yeah,
disregard a lot of the chaff. So it is nice to have that time where we can really just, as you're saying, sit down, connect, and go.
mm,
Wherever you end up going is where wherever somebody pulls the horn to get off the train is where you stop, right?
yeah,
And then you fire it up again and you keep going with whoever's left.
yeah.
I love this idea. It's just it's fun, man. It's
It,
fun, and
it,
I wish that there was a way that I could go back to that. And I'm
mm,
actually what we're trying to do right now actually
mhm,
is we're trying to find an added show,
mhm.
like another IP or another, like Tundra Nation Live is the goofballs that talk about guns. We get drunk.
Goofball.
We're a bunch of weirdos, right? If you like guns and you consider yourself a weirdo, you'll fit right in at Tundra Tactical
I
Saturday nights 9 p.m.
I
Central
think I have
Time.
a name for the show though.
What's that?
Goofballs with guns.
There you go. Certainly confidence inspiring, I'm sure. Anyways, trust me, I'm also moderately self-aware.
Yeah,
Hey, oh damn it, I ADD'd myself out of the point again. Where was I going with this?
you were talking about wanting to add something to your
Oh
Tyler
yeah, yeah.
Tundra Nation.
So adding an IP or adding a show, we have Tundra Nation live stream, which is the world's okayest gun live stream. We just go, we have fun, we're a bunch of goofballs,
Yeah.
right? But we do want to have something that's a little bit more on this line, where it's still maybe inside of the firearms world. It's not quite as free form and free flowing as this show would be, but
Mm.
the idea and the essence that you've distilled here is how we would apply it. Is it would be a non-segmented, non-section show where we just come on and we just start talking, and at some point a producer hits record. We don't know when that happens,
Mm.
right? That's actually another like fun thing I've been experimenting with the live streams, is just kind of starting the show, and then on my own side of things when I'm recording things,
Mm.
just kind of hitting record at a random moment just to see as I'm viewing everything, because I
Yeah.
review most of my content because I'm a raging narcissist. This is a joke, but I'm only a minor narcissist.
Right.
And yeah, so as I'm going back through, I want to see all those cuts. I want to see if somebody hitting a record button at just a random time, how much work do I need to actually make it into a real like cohesive segment or a show.
Yeah.
So having just the ability to go is kind of dope. I
It's
really want to be able to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet.
it's sort of like I think of it like so when someone asks me like what is sort of how do you describe your show? So I was like, I would do the free flow thing. But then I was like, okay. So my two inspirations that I pick up are Whose Line Is It Anyway
Okay,
and the Craig Ferguson show.
cool. Okay, I know them both. Yeah,
Yeah. Because the big point for both of them though is improvisation.
very good. Sorry,
Because
I am wicked trying to hold back a cough right now.
you're fine. Yeah. You don't worry
Okay.
about it. If you think about it, improvisation for both shows. I mean, I didn't watch like the I would watch with my family the Whose Line Is It Anyway, the Drew Carey series,
Sure.
not the UK or whatever.
Yep.
But the big point between both shows, the Craig Ferguson and all that, was improvisation. And improvisation in itself, it's not. You don't even have to go to a class to learn it. It's just about how quick can you pick up the stick. Is
Yes,
basically what it is.
and you always move on.
Yes, because we have lived a life, right? You've lived since you were of however far you can back remember, maybe 7-year-old or whatnot. All the toys you had, all the shows you've seen, all the cars you've ridden in, all those things through your memories you've experienced. Those are things you can grab into. And that is the free flowingness of that as well, because there is a principle of,
I got one for you. You sparked one. All right, here's one. You
yeah,
said cars back
yeah,
from the day. All right. I am in right now. When you said that, I was immediately shot back to a 1998 Mustang GT sitting in the back seat on my way with my best friend Matt to the auto show in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So,
oh,
hey, there you go.
see, and
Look, we just put that to practice.
I'm not a car person, so unfortunately I fall. But I know it's a muscle car. I know it's a Mustang, it's a Ford, it's a muscle car, and all that stuff. But the point of the matter is, though, there's always that gold nugget.
Mhm.
There's always that gold nugget, and when you find it, you can just, I don't want to say ream because that sounds wrong, but you can explore it to the end of its hilt, and then you find something else out of that gold nugget, and it's just
That's what she
that
said.
that
All
well,
right. So I had to do it. Explore it to the end of its hilt. I had to do it. I had to do it.
well,
At least I whispered.
there's usually something else happening in that point, but we're not gonna get there.
Kids, when mommies and daddies love each other very much. Moving on.
She usually asks for a bigger paycheck. But anyway.
Oh, dang it. Hold on. I wasn't ready. Oh, dang it. Hold on. Where is it? Ha!
Oh, there we
Did you
go.
hear that?
Short and sweet. Yep, I hear it.
All right,
Short
cool.
and
Sorry.
sweet. But it's just like, and that again, that lends itself to the conversational aspect of like, okay, what do I talk about? Dude,
Sure.
you have a whole life lived. There's always something you can grab from that people can touch on, nostalgia or whatever. You could talk about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There's a lot of people who've seen that movie. You could talk
Everybody
about
has a story, man.
yeah,
Everyone has a story.
and there's
Even
always
if
like
you don't think you do, you do.
Well, yeah, and I've come across those people who are like, I don't know what I would say. I'm a little anxious or whatever. But it's like you sell yourself short because you haven't tried. If you haven't given yourself a leap of faith in that regard, and trusting in me, obviously, I'm like, look,
Of course, yeah.
if you can answer what color the sky is, you're good to go. That's all you need. That's all you it's simple. It's
Mhm.
purple. Great, it's purple. But the point of the matter is that you at
And
least
tell us
answer
why you think that way.
aliens. It's the aliens.
Exactly.
But the point of the matter is though, is when you open yourself up to that point of the question was so easy to answer and anyone can answer it, you open yourself to the possibility, then maybe the conversation isn't as hard as I think it is.
Sure. You're using this effectively as a way for people to break themselves out of a shell
Yeah,
and explore something brand new and something that is, you're right, it's very dope, but it is very scary to some people. So I
it
can see
is.
the challenge. I can see the challenge.
Yeah, but again, it's just like it's just going based upon what I've seen of other content creators. And look, again, you create what you want. Don't listen to me. But when you have the ability to reach upon thousands of people, and you're not at least outreaching to like one fourth of that, it,
Mhm.
there is a risk. There's always a risk with everything. But can you imagine?
Could I offer a potential suggestion? I just had a thought, and I apologize
Yes.
for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
But another potential way to encourage somebody who has a story to tell but might be a little anxious, I would have them in my stream. I would have them just join audio only with no expectation. Thank you very much. With no expectation, talking or chatting or anything like that, just
Good.
hanging out, and like seeing the backside, talking a little bit before the show,
Hmm.
and then they just sit there and chill.
Hmm.
And if they pipe up and they want to interject something, that is totally up to them. If
Hmm.
they do, great. If they don't, no big deal. And
Hmm.
then we kind of do a bit of a debrief after the show. How do you think that went? Did you have fun? Do you want to do it again and maybe, have a little bit more active of a role if they didn't participate at all?
Yeah.
Or not. But just having that like off camera, no obligation, just way of sitting behind the stream,
Hmm.
I feel like would be by the way, I'm not like talking to nobody. This is my wife is over
Oh.
here. She is delivering beer and chips. She's a
Oh.
wonderful lady.
Well, hey, you
So,
delivered alcohol too while he's on stream, though. That might be
mhm.
a little messy.
Don't worry about it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. But thank you very much.
No,
So that
yeah,
that could be another potential way of lowering that barrier for some people and just removing the expectation of having to participate and just kind of getting to see a little peek behind the curtain.
mhm,
That's cool enough to I've found that it actually gets people to engage after a little while. They
yeah,
feel comfortable. They feel okay. This is my time. They finally said something. I'm gonna roast them like they're gonna get me or something. Whatever. They do engage now,
yeah,
and at that point in time, they kind of break themselves out of that shell. But it's just food for thought.
yeah. No, and I've hey, Miss Sparkles, and no, and I get that too. I usually when I DM someone, or whatever, I explain like a short explanation of what the show is,
Mhm.
and just kind of give it there, or I give a link to like my show, and people can see themselves. But it is like, you kinda there is a degree of you have to kinda build your credibility. It kinda helps smooth the gears if you're trying to get someone on, but again, that shouldn't for me, it's a, how should I best describe it? It's a gateway to the possibility of having someone on who's considered big, but it is not the end
Sure.
all be all for having them on, because again, I have access to millions of people through the internet. It
Absolutely.
in a good way, not like that. But
You're spying on them. Here's Dar over here. Always watching. Huh? How was that? 10 out of 10? Fine out of 10. I'll give it a fine out of 10.
you owe me money. But it's just the fanatical, it's sort of like when we would as kids, we
Thank you,
would look
Mrs.
up at
Sparkle.
this we would look up at the stars and be in awe and wonder of it all.
Yeah, right?
Conversationally, that's what I feel with this because there's
Oh,
people.
can I give you some awesome perspective that I've just come into like possession of, courtesy of life, right?
Yeah,
So exactly what you just talked about, being a kid, looking up at the stars and looking up in wonder and being like, oh my God, that's the limit of everything that I can possibly wrap my head around. And it's just
yeah,
wild. It's mind blowing
yeah,
that you can eventually realize that there is, bazillions of things more out there than just what you can see with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Um, I get to watch that all happen in real time with my daughter. It is awesome. Can I
Yeah.
tell you when she makes those connections and she figures out that,
Yeah.
that just it's the coolest thing. This is going to sound absolutely ridiculous because
Yeah.
prior to today, I thought this was absolutely ridiculous, but it turns out it's really enjoyable. I
Mm.
went to my daughter's preschool graduation today,
Yeah.
which once again, I used to think it was absolutely ridiculous, but it turned
Mm.
out to be really, really fun.
Nice.
And it was amazing to watch her talk to people
Yeah.
and listen to that conversation since we're on this topic, right?
Yeah.
From a 5-year-old's perspective about life in the world and
Yeah.
everything that was important to her at that given time. It was the coolest thing in the entire world as a dad. The thing
Yeah.
that excites me most about waking up in the morning is being a dad and seeing what comes of that day.
Yeah.
And today was a win, man. I'll tell you that. So you sparked a little core memory for me there.
Yeah. No, and that's another thing too, because again, I used to think like that. Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who grow up to be adults who are in that aspect because as an adult, you kind of get a lot of things churned out of you because
Sure.
job,
Yeah,
paying
it grinds you
bills.
down.
Yeah.
And the mystery is no longer there. You realize that, oh, this isn't magic. This is just the way it is, I guess. And it is that's kind of it removes the vibrancy. The vibrancy, is that a word? The vibrant
Go for
nature
it.
of a lot of things.
Yeah. And again, that's how I kind of see and feel with the conversational aspect because so many people have different perspectives. Some have similar, some have disinterest. And
Mhm.
again, I'm not here to argue or debate people,
You
but
just want to
I've
hear
had
the story.
disagreements. Yeah, well, I've had disagreements with people before, but at the end of the day, we can still walk away and have a good time out of it, and maybe come
I
back
think
later and
so.
have another conversation.
I think
The
so.
the again, going back to the power of the conversation, I think again people don't realize of how interconnected you could say, we use technology as a tool and all this stuff, and you can go for the AI thing. I understand. But people don't realize how interconnected we can be when you simply just starts with hello, how are you? Or something like that. The
Well,
bridge starts
to your
somewhere.
point earlier, it's difficult to sit people down and get them to the point where you can even say those couple of syllables to them.
It's true. It is true.
That's the
I,
challenge.
yeah. But isn't it a wonderful challenge though?
I think it makes well, okay. So we'll talk about this from a firearms perspective. It makes the
Right.
hunt worth it, right? Like everybody loves going deer hunting and smoking a deer like 30 seconds into the season, right? Because
Yeah.
then you don't get to sit out there and freeze and be uncomfortable. But
Mm,
every now and again, you get a challenge,
mm,
and you get something that is a little trickier.
mm.
You make a shot, or you have to track the deer or whatnot, and it works out. You walk away, and you get the W. You get your food. That feels good because of that accomplishment, because of that hard work.
Mm.
And so, to that point, I think absolutely we'll say the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did listen to that Lizzo song, so maybe there's something to that.
Was that
But
a Lizzo song? God bless it.
no,
All
no,
right.
it's a line from one of her songs.
Okay.
It was one of her early ones before she started becoming famous. Is like, oh crap, I can't remember.
Fair enough.
Um, I I'll have to look at that later. But
I'm,
anyway,
I'm quoting pop stars now, ladies and gentlemen. Quoting pop stars. We've sunk to a new low.
but to answer your question, Miss Sparkles, they're all. I'm not monetized on YouTube, so all those little post-it notes are all rumble rants that people have given.
Oh, that's awesome. That's such a cool idea to put those up all behind you.
Well, I kind of borrowed the idea from someone else.
Sick, dude.
So what happens is that I was well, one, someone had mentioned to me like, "Oh, your wall's kind of like, bland or whatever." So I was like, "Okay, so I need to come up with something that is colorful, but also I can do something that, kind of gives a little thank you." You can't see the names on there, but it's sort of like a little thank you of people who've donated
I
to the wall.
guarantee you every single person knows where their spot's at.
Well, if they see it put up, I usually don't put them
Sure,
up while
sure.
on. But the regard was is that there was I still follow them, but I don't watch their stuff very much anymore. As a side scroller podcast, and what he would do, the Craig person, he would if someone gave him a gifted sub or whatever, he would write down whatever in that regard, and he would post it on his wall. But they
Mhm.
were post-it notes. So I'm like, wait a second, there are different colored post-it notes.
That is cool, yeah.
And I also can give, thanks in a way, write down the name and the amount on that post note. So I killed two birds with one stone there. So you got all these different colored post-it notes and whatnot.
You know what those are great at too?
Mm.
Keeping you humble and letting you know that like there are people out there that really appreciate what you do, and for me that's a massive motivation to remain as grounded as I can,
Yeah.
like try not to let the boots get too light and
Yeah.
my head too big. So I do something very similar, but it's not on screen.
Yeah. Well, and that's not even the full of it. Like that's the full of it right there.
Damn, dude, look at that, see, one in
But I
that
mean,
whole wall. You're gonna need a whole new room.
it also goes back to the point. Like there are times where I get nothing. Like there are
Oh, of
days where I
course.
get nothing at all. But again, it's all a bonus beyond the conversation itself. Everything's a bonus because it can all easily
That's
go
not your
ways.
main goal. Yeah.
Yeah, because it can all go away. Like I used to deliver pizza, right? I used to deliver for Papa John's. This is no different. This is no different than being a waiter. This is no different being a server. This is tip money, basically, is what content
Okay.
creation is. You have sponsorships, sure, so that changes a little bit. But if you don't have sponsorships and you're just relying on Snapchat or
Sure.
whatever, the point of the matter is though is that it's all just tip tip jar money, and that can easily go away. I used to do Papa John's like the first day I started, I only earned $7, but there were days. There was one day I was like close to over 100. At the end of the day, though, it comes back to those two questions of why you want to get in it and what you want from this. Because I'm telling you what, you'll burn yourself out chasing the beast, feeding the beast, and all this stuff. And look, if you're doing a business out of it, don't listen to me. You want to listen to the man over there who's making the business out of it. He's got the glasses and the beard to prove it. But it's just it's a
Qualifying factors right here.
hey, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it to the day.
100%. I'm still faking it.
But my friend is a normal guest in there. Oh, okay. All right. So you have a friend over there. Okay, that's good. But yeah, it's just I after so it was like it was another thing too, is like, you kind of go through life figuring out what you want to do with yourself because I'm just working. My full time just provides me the ability to do this sort of thing. It gives me the time slot and all stuff. But it's like I get to do this thing, and there are so many people, creator or not, there's so many people, and the joyous factor is that people who get to watch, get to share in, like, now they get to meet this new person in an environment which isn't hostile. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
It's not hostile.
That's nice.
And they get
Always good to be in that position.
yeah. But it's just you get when people going back to that nervous thing, right? When people come on for the first time and they go through it, they finally get that's what the show is about,
Mhm.
right? Because you trying to say it's a free flowing show, you can we chat about whatever and all that stuff. People are like, well, what's the topic? And they get stuck on this thing that's been built up over time in the content creators fair. And to change that to shift that prism, to change that kind of paradigm, whatever you want to call it. And suddenly it's like, I am free to just talk about whatever within reason, of course, YouTube, but I don't care if you curse. The point of the matter is there's a freedom to this thing. There is a wonderment to this thing. There is a power of possibility and opportunity with this thing. And it can mean anything to the other person on the scale. Like it's a two-way street for you and me at this point. This is an
Sure.
opportunity two-way street. I don't see it as a one-way street. But it's just that's the on it. And when I finally hit on it with Zora and after time, sporadically, and it wasn't until April of last year that I started to do like this calendar sort of thing right here, you know, on that full scale. That's what I wanted to do. That's the thing that just kind of like, there's something here, chase it. Because when in someone's life do you finally find that thing that you just want to, yes, there's a money factor to it. Yes, you have to put a roof over your head and all that stuff. But when do you get to chase something that you enjoy and want to do? How many people get to experience that? It just clicks in their head and it's like, that's it. Do it. Go for it. See where it goes. And
It was kind of like it was kind of what it was like for us here. Honestly, is we had a bit of a light bulb eureka moment where I'll give you the abbreviated version. It was an impromptu skit that I did. A buddy of mine asked me to do an on the spot review. This was before I even had a YouTube channel,
mm,
and he filmed it, and we posted it, and he showed it to a couple of buddies, and they said, "Oh, they all laughed at it. You should probably fucking do this." I said, oh, okay, maybe. I don't know. And so we kind of did 10 years ago, and now we're here. So, I mean, I get to go on YouTube. I've got 124,000 subscribers over there. We're growing fast on Rumble here. We're doing something.
Yeah.
And it all started because of that. We were talking about improv, and we're talking about stepping out of the creative comfort zone. We're talking about sitting down and talking with people. And these are all like integral aspects of how everything started. And it's so mind-bendingly crazy to think that a decade later, I'm going back to like think about all of these little beginning moments. But at the same time, I'm seeing how they're kind of missing in a lot of what I do now. And it's this chat has actually provided me a little bit of perspective on, I think, how I want to tackle some future projects. So good stuff, man. You've got the gift of gab. You definitely know how to talk, and you definitely know how to get people going and thinking.
Well, I've talked to enough people for that to finally figure that one out. I still hit the road bumps. So, and that's the point, is I can take those challenges and I make something of it. And sometimes I'll fail, but guess what? Failure only stays a failure when you don't do anything about it.
All right, that's all I needed to hear about you, my friend. You and I are buddies.
I want to start streaming
the same way.
by my character. Well, I mean, I don't see it that way. Why do you want to start streaming? That's the real question. Why do you want to start streaming? Why do you want to create content? That's the core. It's almost like it's the core question every content creator should ask themselves. Why do you want to create? Why are you creating? And if you can't give yourself like a small paragraph of why you want to create, then you might have to step back a bit and say, okay, so why am I doing this thing? Because you're in an ocean. You're in an ocean of people already playing video games, already talking about politics, already about doing 2A, all this stuff. There's already somebody doing it in some form of fashion. It's like trying to play the lottery. Somebody's already got the numbers, and you're going to hit close. But it's just, why do you want to create? Why are you getting into this thing? And when you find that answer, right, things are going to change. Don't get me wrong. Things are going to change. But if you can hold on to that core answer, and maybe
it's honestly really good advice.
Yeah.
It coming from somebody who's done this for a decade, that's really good advice.
Yeah, hold on to that core answer of why you started out, because some people will say, oh, I got in for the money or the views or whatever. That's a different set of things of talking about. But when you
that was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
God dang it.
I am him. I am that person. But I mean, we're two sides of the same coin. So this is why this conversation is working as nicely as it is.
Yeah.
Is I am absolutely, like, don't get me wrong, I adore my community. This isn't all business. It's not all about the almighty dollar sign. The original you talking about, grab the core, grab the essence.
Yeah.
Of what you're trying to build. We've never changed. Even though we're not we're not the most popular way of doing things, right? How successful can you be if all you do is make fun of the people who pay you, right? Like, that's literally what people pay me to do. If we haven't established this yet, I roast people. And we're talking about folks with thin skins or not the greatest sense of humor, never talking to me again. That has happened.
Yeah.
But hey, it's we move on, we go forward. It's all about just getting out there and doing it. To Dara's point, you never know until you try. Me being the Minnesotan that I am and the hockey fanatic that I am, I'll quote the great one: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And it is something that everybody should try. I genuinely believe that content creation is something that everybody should try, just so that they understand that the people who do it well, no, like, you got to understand that this isn't easy. It's not. You're talking about you'll burn yourself out, you'll drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
You can. I wouldn't say you will if you manage it properly.
Yeah.
Your expectations properly. But this is not, as we were talking about right in the beginning of the show, this isn't a break from a day job. This is the day job. And it is arguably, if you take it on in the path that I have gone, not Dara here, but if you take it in the path that I have gone, then it becomes about 5 times as much work as I was doing when I was working as a range safety officer or a firearms instructor or something like that. It is so much more work, but on the flip side of that, I get a lot of cool opportunities, right? I don't have to go to an office. I get to watch my daughter grow up in front of my eyes. I get to be there for her, to go to her preschool graduation, to do any, like, granted, silly activity, but I have the freedom to do it. The flip side of this, though, is If I get sick, I just had a triple hernia surgery. Yay. Too
Oof.
much information. I get it. But I don't get a day off. Those sick days are money. It's money lost. My sponsors still have expectations of me, right? I still got to put out a certain amount of videos. My writer wants to take a vacation. I've got to find somebody to cover that. It's management. It is, you were talking to, I talked to a lot of kids, 18, 19, 20 years old. And they say, yeah, man, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to be content creator. I was like, awesome, dude. Just get ready to manage people, because you will have to. If you make this into the business and you really try to push it, you will have to. And to your point, if you don't manage those expectations properly, you will burn out.
Yeah, and manage, like you're saying, also manage your expectations, because this isn't done overnight. I just wanted to get to her before we get to her thing. When I help people, especially lonely men, well, that's great. That's a good core start. It's just now that you have that
name checks out, right?
Yeah, now that you have that core reason, right? What way do you want to go about it? Like, if you want to do streaming, well, then talk about those experiences. You don't have to name names, obviously, confidential and all stuff. That's all. I pick on people. But yeah, that sounds like a great reason that you found for yourself. Now it's just like, how do you want to go about it? And I would say you just start streaming if that's what you
Rumble,
or wherever
Green, baby.
Or wherever else you want. Again, I've learned
I
that
know.
it's
Sorry,
not
business.
it's not good as a content creator to be on one platform only, because
Very true.
YouTube's
Also very
proven
true.
time and again what kind of person YouTube and Twitch. Obviously, YouTube and Twitch have proven what it is to be on one platform. So it's always good to be mindful. But yeah, you have a core reason now. Start with that. If you want to stream, choose how many days you want to do it. 1 day a week. Start somewhere with it. And then explore. That's a big thing too, is like experiment. If something's not working right, experiment. Change something up. This doesn't have to be a one size fits all thing. You don't have to pick a certain niche and stick with it. I mean, yes, I guess free flowing conversation is a niche, but it's so wide open. It doesn't have a size fits all. So, well, okay, no, that I may be wrong. I'm getting myself lost here.
I trust me, I'm not unfamiliar with that territory. I'll attempt to step in and try to save you. Let you collect your thoughts for a second. To the point of getting out there doing the thing, just starting is the biggest challenge for a lot of people. If this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, and it's like it's the same time. This is going to be the same type of advice that IT people give you when they say, "Did you unplug it and plug it back in?" You just want to punch them in the face, right? I apologize in advance because you're going to want to punch me in the face, but I just ADD'd myself out of the point. Oh yeah, getting up and getting out and doing it. Set yourself a date and a time specifically. If you only say, next week I'm going to do it, next week's going to come, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you say, next month or, whatever, now say, all right, Tuesday, 9 p.m., I'm going live.
Yeah.
And then put it out on social media. Tell your friends. Tell everybody so you have accountability. And then go live. And then just talk.
Or those people would come and see your stream and they'll be there to support you during. I mean, you have friendly faces to talk to. There's a lot of variability that goes in it. There's no one answer, but it's just get out and try. You have your reason, get out and try.
I like
it. What's the word? To refine it to its most simplest, purest form. You have your reason now. Get out and try. There you go. And if you're still fearful about it, then understand that yes, there will always be fear. Look, I didn't start out. Even I'm still not as confident as always, but I've talked to enough people where at a certain point you're like, at some certain point, people just BS themselves to the point of the point of beyond that regard. So it's a true factor.
Who?
I'm not talking about you, but yeah. But anyway, it is a little past the top of the hour. But what I do is I set aside some time for us to, me and my guests, to promote ourselves. I usually do. I know some content creators do like the beginning or end, or they do like sporadically throughout. I do it. It's a little past the top of the hour, but I do it at the top of the hour because sort of like a timing. Because I do have work tomorrow, so I don't do too long. But this is not the end of the show. This is just like it's our uh relax. It's sort
Intermission.
of like that. We promote and then we kind of go back into it. So I did.
Do you want me to give you? Do you want me to give you an intermission, like a radio ad read?
Oh, no, I already got. No, I already got your
Oh,
links.
you got one. Okay, never mind.
I already got your links in, but
Oh, I was gonna do one off the cuff, just as a silly promotion for you, but no, it's fine.
if you want, I'll let you do it. But
Fair enough.
yeah, your links are in the chat. But if you want to sell yourself, good sir,
Well,
not like that
I'm
though.
gonna hit one up for you right here. This is, I don't know what I'm gonna say yet, but we're just gonna go with it. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. We're gonna
There you
see
go.
how we do this. All right there, ladies and gentlemen of Darachat. Welcome in where the chat is flowing, the freedom is rocking and rolling, and we are having a wonderful time. Where to find Tundra Tactical? Right there, my friends. You're listening to Dara. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check him in, or check in whenever he streams. And now it's on to you to tell him when that happens, and then I'll go.
Oh, I don't have a set schedule. I think that's one of my detriments too, is I don't have a set schedule. But I
Fair
do
enough.
put on the schedule every week when I know it. That's why I schedule things in advance, as far as advanced as I can.
That's okay. Fair enough. At that point, you're pretty locked into the schedule.
Yeah, but it's not on the same time because I work around other people's schedule, and I try again. That's another point of freedom to try to like, okay, he'll work with me on this time. I've worked at late times, not always, but a few times. But yeah, I try to work with the person because I would like to have him on, but not in a too ridiculous sort of way. So there's that too. But again, oh, look at that. You got a very look. He has a very nice voice,
Why? Thank you.
and he says
Go ahead.
if you drop a 5, he'll even get nicer. No.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, for me, I'm Tundra Tactical, ladies and gentlemen. I am a professional asshole. People pay me to roast their rifles and setups on the internet, and I do so mercilessly. However, we do try to have as good of a time as we possibly can. So we are firearms focused, satire based organization of insurgent crazy people. I by the way, to the ATF agent that's listening to this phone call, Jesus, I'm old. This interaction over the interwebs, that was a joke and a metaphor, not to be used against me in a court of law. And yeah, we like to have fun. So check it out, Tundra Tactical here on the Rumbell. We do occasionally post up to YouTube. However, like I said, I'm pretty much done with those jokers. And I'm full on Team Green. So we also show up on X, and we'll get those links somewhere. Yep, perfect. They're on the screen right there. Bingo.
Yes, they are, and the description on both YouTube and Rumble because I do post my stuff on both ends, just for that reason. Yeah, she says schedule. I'd like to, but again, I try to work around other people's schedule because again, I know what my work schedule and all this stuff is, but I don't know about the other person. So you want to at least try to be reasonable enough, so that way it works
Yep.
well. It's again, I'm trying to have all different sorts of people on, not just content
Well, and
creators.
our shows are relatively, at this point in time, our shows are very different. You are kind of in that in the pipe to have to be, I'd say semper gumby, always flexible.
Yeah,
You got to have that flexibility to work with those other people's schedules.
yeah.
Me, I'm lock stock. I am 9 p.m. Central Saturday nights every single week.
And you see how he did it like that. He's like
Yeah,
and that.
yeah,
I see this. You do that. Huh?
exactly. Welcome to the military, folks. It sticks with you.
Hey, I've heard enough of that. But for my again, his links are down below on both Rumble and YouTube. So if you want to see where he's at, go and give him a look. And if he's worth the follow, why not? Why not?
Yeah. Why not? I like it.
Yeah. Because some content creators are like, go follow this person. I'm like, well, if someone just follows because I tell them to, then that's not really a follow. That's more of like whatever. I would like the person's work to speak for themselves, or whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
content, whatever. So it's not a mean way. It's just trying
I'll
to do the
take it
thing.
all, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm kidding. I will say I love it when I'll take the opposite stance on that. Is I love it when people say go follow this person because I like them, and I think that if I like them, a lot of my fans will like them.
Mm.
With that being said, you're absolutely correct. Where they have to earn that,
Yeah.
they have to earn that what's the word I'm looking for? The longevity. They have to.
Yeah.
I'll follow somebody sight unseen, never haven't seen them before, just based off a recommendation. But then when I go to watch their content, they still got to earn that. I'll hit the unfollow button just as fast.
Yeah. See, again, it's just because you can only follow so many people anyway. And YouTube, my YouTube site is much ridiculous. But anyway, get into my end of things. Whether you're on the so mean, oh, it's not that mean. He's being honest. You guys, sometimes if you're being honest, as long as you're not like, well, he did say he's an a hole for work. So
I
there's
am,
that's
but yeah, I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to be mean. Not
he's a
now.
good
Not now.
yeah, he's a good guy. But anyway, for my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because not only does it help in being seen more, like all content creators want to do. Let's just be honest, all content creators want to be seen more to some
We're
degree.
all massive narcissists. Please stroke the ego. I'm just kidding. We're not all
And
massive narcissists, but we do play them on TV.
hey, and then smell the farts. But anyway,
Ow, fuck. Oh,
don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself. Oh, don't hurt yourself.
No, I'm kidding. I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
I don't want to have to end up being with someone's accents like, and he got hurt on the show. It's like, no, curses.
So it's like it's the on the tombstone, died doing what he loved.
Speaking to others and clocking that gun.
Pretty much.
But anyway,
Pretty
also
much.
the help with engagement also helps in having other people on, like Tundra Tactical, like Furious Stan, who I've had on, like Gaming Chad, who's coming on next month, and like so many other people. Again, over 200 various guests.
It's
And
genuinely
so,
impressive, man.
and some of them have blocked me, so just a very few, but some of them have
Hey
blocked me
man,
for
you
no.
can't make everybody happy. You can't make everyone happy.
And none of them will explain why, but you know what? Sometimes an adult is not an adult, but that's just life. But regardless, any help with engagement on either end is much appreciated. And of course, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put the. I have a link that's down below as well on both ends. You can go and check it out, and it will lead you to. It's like a link tree. It'll lead you to my Twitter X. It'll lead you to my email.
Gotcha,
It'll
yeah.
lead you to like a Discord thing, but mostly just for DMing. I don't have a Discord server. I only have so much mental stability or whatever you want to call it because
Yes.
I have
When
a
it
bunch
comes to social media, saying mental stability is accurate.
mental whatever you want to call it. Anyway, all my places to find me are there, of course. All that stuff, and again on
Hi,
either
Bob.
end too. Hey, Bob. And but also there's one more thing too. So a while back, um, I of course I'm part of the creator program on Rumble, and I only applied for that because one I was already using Rumble Studio, but I was also just wanted to see how it would go. The money and everything else is a bonus. That's how I've always
Yeah,
described
like
it.
you
That's
said, you're
all.
working for tips. I like that.
Well, yeah, and it's just it really
I
is
like it.
not something that's not I grow with or without it. Basically, is
Fair
what I'm
enough.
trying to get. The darkest fairy, great name. There you go. But also there was a on Twitter X there was a post made by a company called Proton. Now I don't know if anyone knows who what Proton is, but they're a company in Switzerland. They're very into this privacy security thing. They have Proton Mail, they have Proton VPN, all that sort of stuff. But a while back, they had made a public post on for their partner program. So I had entered into it. Didn't think I'd get into it because usually those people trying to find like big numbers and all that stuff. Um, but to my surprise and to my simple astonishment, I don't know how, they said, "You're welcome in." And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know if you want me for that because I'm not a good marketer or seller. So let's see how this works. But anyway, I'm posting the link in the thing. You can go to that link. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. I posted the wrong link.
That
Hold on.
happens.
I posted the wrong link. I apologize. Here's the correct link. This is the link to where you can go. This is for the Proton Mail only, but let me just give you a few things of what it does. Proton Mail, first off, they don't they don't do ads or they don't sell your data. So unlike most free email services like Gmail or whatever, Proton doesn't scan your messages to serve you ads or doesn't sell your info. Your inbox stays your inbox in that literal sense. So that's a great thing. And of course, the other part of it is they offer the ability to have throwaway email aliases. So it's like having a mask or a redirect, basically something you can use to sign up for a website or whatever, and it will redirect back to your actual email address. But if, say, the company starts getting spammy with their emails, which some companies do, don't get me wrong, you can actually just click, turn it off, delete it, and you're good. And that's the end of that. They can't actually get to your actual email address. So that's another thing. And the third thing I give you of what they do is they're actually good about protecting against spammy and scammy stuff. So basically, it's like having your own bodyguard that kind of zaps them before they get in. Now, there are some where they kind of get in, but they will tell you, oh, this looks like it's phishing. This looks like it's a spam email, that sort of stuff. So they will give you those type of warnings, but majority are not. You rarely get any spam mail at all. So give it a look. You can go to the link, give it a look. They offer free accounts, but they do offer like this 30-day, through this link, they offer like a 30-day guarantee sort of thing. And there are also paid plans too. But at the end of the day, I promote this product like Billy Mays, right? OxyClean. I promote this product because I use this product. I believe in what they do with the privacy security thing. And again, you have people out there, like for the spam stuff, right? You have older people out there that are every day getting hit. Trillions of dollars get stolen through the spam stuff, right? I had one not too long ago. This was on my iCloud account. Someone from I'm in Indiana. So there was someone from the Indiana gun was telling me like I owed tolls or whatever. I'm like, I don't go through the toll road. So you have those things where you have to be wary. But through Proton Mail, less than that. You barely get them at all. So you can give it a look. Hey, dashboard.
They're going to come in there and be like, ha, ha.
Yep.
Callback.
Yeah. Again, I'm not a great marketer. I'm not a great seller, but at the end of the day, like Billy Mays. I'm promoting a product I use. I believe in what they're doing, and if you don't want to look into it, that's fine. Guess what? It's no skin off my back. Yes, I do earn a little money off it if someone does, but guess what?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I probably have made like a penny. That's probably as far.
Gotta start somewhere.
I don't know how long they'll let me stay on, but you know what? At least I gave it the college try.
There you go.
Oh man, but yeah, so I was astonished to let me in. But yeah, I probably haven't sold any Rumble Premium either, but for me, I use it, and like I said, I like the Billy Mays method where he wouldn't sell you a product or he wouldn't promote a product he didn't use himself, and I think that's the way it should be. Is like you have a lot of content creators, not all, but a big chunk that do sell a product they probably themselves don't use. Do you trust someone who doesn't use a product, or do you trust someone who uses it and is willing to give you an honest answer? Now, I have heard though that those, if you do get something from like Shadow Raid Legends, you are very strict on what you can do, like the thing back.
You want to hear a really funny story?
Go for it.
Okay. So I've got a perfect segue into this. I once did an ad for Manscaped that will go down in infamy.
Whoo!
Probably still taught at Manscaped HQ, but when you're talking about like Raid Shadow Legends or having like specific requirements and all this stuff, boy, this was my first experience with like an advertiser of that caliber,
Right.
quote unquote, right? And I just decided, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna do what I normally do, and I tossed it to my writer.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did exactly what I told him to do. He made a funny ad. I wish I could tell you what video this was on. I don't remember. But I used terms like grundle floss and things like that. And then I ran it. I ran the ad, and I'll use a fancy term, my agent at the time, wasn't really, but still, called me up. He's like, dude, you weren't supposed to do that. That was supposed to go to them for submission and approval first. Now you're in big trouble. And guess who never did business with old Tundra Tactical again?
Wow.
Hi, Manscaped. Understandably so. Like totally fine. But that was a lesson learned for me.
Yeah, I look, I like the ability that it, if you're honest in your feedback, I think you should be allowed to be honest because I think
Of course.
a lot of companies rely on you being positive for them to sell their product. But if your
It's
product
not
is good,
genuine, man. It's
yeah,
not genuine.
if your product is good enough, right? If your product, it's not like something you buy off Amazon and it's scammy or whatever. If your product is good enough, it will sell itself. All you need is people to kind of reach out there and say, "Hey, we got this product. You can do this thing or whatever." Again, you can try again Proton Mail. You can try for free and don't even have to pay for it. You can make a free account and that's that. But at the end of the day, I promote it because of me using it. I'm not trying to show you. I know I've again hearing the stories of Shadow Raid Legends and all this stuff. I just if you can't be honest about a product, is the product even worth promoting at all?
It's a great question.
Because how can you give an honest feedback? Really,
Uh-huh.
how can you give honest feedback if you can't be honest about the thing you're because you're basically you're thinking about this as a business, right? This is your business.
Mhm.
You
So if we're gonna go down these weeds, we have to make a distinction though. Am I endorsing the product or am I just advertising for them? Because that is a major distinction.
okay.
There are ads that I take where I do not use. I am on the hey, if I like it, in theory, sure, I'll advertise it. If it's a
Okay.
piece of garbage, in theory, I'm gonna test it first and figure out if it works. That's kind of
Okay.
my
Right.
litmus, if you will.
Right.
But absolutely, I've done ads for things sight unseen. But am I telling somebody explicitly that this has my endorsement? That's a different story.
Okay.
If I'm going on record to say this is my favorite, I think if we're going to bring it back to gaming,
Mhm.
I'm Tundra Tactical, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel. Like the old Mass Effect
Yeah.
thing. If I'm putting my name to that, if I'm putting my actual endorsement to it,
Mhm.
then I absolutely want it to be something that I use. And I think companies do this all the time. And I think the lines have gotten very, very blurred
Yeah.
on what an endorsement is versus just a raw advertisement. I think both have their place. I
Yeah.
think both have absolutely a location
Mhm.
in the advertising world and in the content creator space. But
Yeah.
I think it is on us as the viewer of that content to understand the distinction.
Yeah.
Is my favorite content creator actually endorsing this,
Mhm.
or are they just advertising for them? Because Bill's got to get paid, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. And
Yeah.
there aren't enough companies that I use that are willing to reach out to me to pay those bills.
Yeah.
That being said, most of what I do is above board. I'll give you one famous example of
It's all legal as we
well, yeah, it's all legal. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let me rephrase. Okay, fair enough. What I was alluding to is I absolutely and I will own this till the day I die.
Yeah.
I will never hide from it. It is
Yeah.
something shameful that I did and that I am not proud of myself for doing. I took money from a company that I hated. And
Wow.
I advertised for them, but it was because I had to pay for my mortgage
Yeah.
and make like I was um before I found Rumble,
Mhm.
I was broke. I had one more. I was behind on my mortgage. I had nothing. Nothing. Like YouTube took everything from us. They took. I'm not going to give you an exact number, but they took over $6,000 a month from us overnight,
Mm.
and we just couldn't pay our bills anymore. And when something like that happens, it's catastrophic.
Yep.
Very fortunately, I immediately connected with Rumble, and there was just a lot of love there to begin with. We've since very much got out of that danger zone. Thank you very much, Dashboard. And we're no longer in that. So I appreciate that. But it's because of you guys over on the Rumble side of things that made that happen, and that's why I'm so hardcore Team Green, because I saw the caliber of the people over here. Some of
Mhm.
you guys are fucking psychos. Most of you are pretty darn cool.
Well,
And
yeah, and that's why I advocate for multi-platform, but continue, sorry.
well, and that is, I mean, that is the, all the eggs in one basket here right now. We are working on X. We're working on a few other things as well,
Mhm.
but just YouTube will never have us, never again. And it just due to the nature of what we do and how poorly we were treated over there. Um, that's not this is not the show to get into that on, but over here it is, man, it is so much different.
Mhm.
when you were talking about it being, like back in the day in YouTube when you'd upload for no money at all, right? There was
Yeah.
no advertising. That's very similar to what Rumble is now, because there's not a lot of financial motivation for a lot of people to move over. Coming
Oh
from a
yeah.
content creator's perspective that does this professionally,
Yep.
I earn 5 times the views on Rumble and I make 600% less money on those views. And that's fine to me. The views, the people watching is what matters at the end of the day, because without that, there's no anything else. There's no sponsors, there's no nothing. So effectively, at the end of the day, a content creator is like what a politician should be: somebody for the people, somebody that listens to what the people have to say to them and gives them what they want. There has to be a little bit of value in for the content creator as well to make the content that they want to make. You can't just make things that other people want to see your entire life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do things that are fulfilling to you, but at the end of the day, your audience is what gets you to the place. You're very much like a rock star, or you're very much like anything else. You have a very core group of dedicated fans that will help you regardless. And I am very, very grateful to my very good core group of fans. I have been very blessed to have some unbelievably generous people who helped me through some very, very slim times. Without that help, we would not be here at all.
Yeah.
And we, through a lot of what we were talking about today with that whole conversational element and that want to drive people to talk more, right? That kind of is what built that community for us and allowed us to survive those really, really lean times. Hello, my friend Celtic. How's it going? So we're here because of that community, and we're here because people literally put money on the line for us to exist. And that's the type of loyalty that I love to see. But you don't need any of that when you begin. It's the job. The job is to build that over the course of time.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is my 10th year doing this. I finally get to say I've done. This is the longest I've ever done any one single thing in my life. A decade. I get to say I got my doctorate in bullshit now. It's like going to school and just learning how to bullshit people for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But I mean that with love, of course. Like, I don't want to go out here and say oh, I'm just bullshitting people all the time. No, I mean, yes, but no, you get what I'm saying. My job is to speak crazy shit. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So in effect, that is the bullshit I refer to. So
it's it's no, and it's understandable too, because you learn about things, BSing or whatever. It's learning about this sphere that's been here for quite some time before you came in or whatever, and you're learning about its inner workings. So for me, I'm learning that too. It's just like, I am not going to stop because of A, B, and C. I'm building a sandcastle over here that's going to be so important for the later part, because I know I do this thing. Like, I have more on Rumble. If I were to do the numbers thing, right, I'd have more on Rumble than YouTube. YouTube is an ocean. Either you play to the algorithm or not.
Or you get you're a drop in the ocean at that point.
Yeah, and that's fine for me though, because again, there is so much potential in what this is. The astronomical potential in this, the opportunity in it, is so big, it overtakes our own galaxy. Because I think people kind of overlook the aspect of, like, well, it's you're just talking to people. Oh wow, great, I could do that every day. Have you talked
I
to
like where you're going with this. Keep
Have you
going.
talked to someone from Australia? Have you talked to someone from Norway? Have you talked to someone from Alaska who's part of the United States? Have you talked to someone who's in the next state over? Have you talked? There are so much. We used to do things like pen pals, right? Like pen pals used to be a big thing, or whatever that.
Sure.
But the point of the matter is, though, is that there's huge opportunity in just the conversational aspect. Do what you want with content creation. Don't listen to someone like me. If you're in business part of it, like Tyler over here, don't listen to me. I will throw you down to the road of ruin, because I'm not in it for the business. I'm in it for the pure, well, not pure, but I'm in it for the possible. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice to get make a little cash every now and then. But
You got to eat.
I have my full-time job, so it's more like play money. But the thing of it
You
is
got to play too.
it's true. The thing of it is, though, the opportunity in this thing that it didn't see much coming from others is so potential that it's like pennies. Have you ever gone outside and see like pennies on the ground, scattered on the ground?
Sure.
It's like all over. It's like that. It's like, and I don't want to make the comparison of people are like pennies, but it does sort of feel like that to a degree where you find this person, and they don't feel like they have the ability or whatever, and yet they can come on, and there's a point to where this thing flickers in their head, it clicks in their head, and you get to see a change that you didn't think was possible.
Can I this is a little bit of a parallel topic here, but
Yes.
it's kind of on par, I hope,
Yeah.
with what you're talking about. I have an idea, something that I would like to do.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to require a long story, so I'm going to
Yes, go
apologize
for
in
it.
advance. But
No, go for it.
earlier this year, by the way, when inevitably I say, oh crap, I ADD'd myself out of the point and I forgot what I was doing. Here's the point. I'm talking about recruiting to the military and how content creators could help with that. And this is from a veteran's perspective.
Right.
So here we go. Earlier this year, in the last 365 days, I looked upon the DoD, the Department of Defense, the Pentagon,
Yeah.
and Twitter and X in horror when I learned that the United States government had spent $11 million of our tax dollars
Mm.
on recruiting by paying The Rock, aka Dwayne Johnson,
You're right.
to post on the internet about how cool the military is. Excuse me? What?
They would have been better.
Would you
with
like to know what
actual-
happened? The net results?
What was that?
He posted 5 times.
Yeah.
So about 2 million a shot, right? For those posts, right?
Jeez.
Not videos, not
Mm-mm.
nothing. No, just posts, right? And they net lost 38 recruits due to that recruiting campaign.
Wow.
Great job, Pentagon. Great job. So I got real mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, well, instead of getting mad, let's try to come up with a plan. How do we take that $11 million and repurpose it?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make it, us veterans are fond of our veteran communities.
Yeah.
And our, veteran-owned businesses and things like that. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm a vet. I'm a content creator. How did I get here? Accident. I don't know. Like what? Just kind of woke up one day and this is what we were doing.
Yeah.
What if we pitched the DoD on taking that $11 million and giving it to me, not as like a way to boost my channel, right? But let me manage that and cut it up into $10,000 grants.
Mm-hmm.
And how many veterans can I save the life of at 22 suicides a day for the veteran community? Sorry to get real dark on this real quick.
Yeah.
22 a day, ladies and gentlemen. How many lives can I save by getting them a YouTube studio setup and a camera to talk about their story?
Mm-hmm.
And does that story not affect and give more back to the general community than a worthless throwaway post by The Rock?
Mm-hmm.
Does that not drive more recruitment? I mean, think of how many people have signed up for the military because of the Unsub podcast, because of Eli and because of all with the whole crew, right?
Yeah.
Think of how many people have wanted or had a desire to do that because of Unsub. I want to try to take that same route, but give those same people their voices to have those conversations like you're promoting here, and to sit down and talk. And it's vets get shit on a lot for not doing enough, or not being tough, or this, that, and the other. Oh, you fought in a war. Why can't you do this? And it's tough to talk about because we don't feel at home talking with a lot of people about it. It's not great.
Yeah.
So when you have a camera and a light that just kind of washes everything out, like what I'm looking at right now, when I look directly at this camera, I don't see anything else. There's a light sitting right behind it. So it is a dark room in here, and there is a bright light staring me in the face. And all I can see is the outline of a camera, and that's all you are. Mm-hmm. There's no pressure here. Mm-hmm. This is so nice. It's free. It's a great way to just sit down and tell a story. Mm-hmm. And this is all you've talked about the entire day is the value of how freeing and how liberating it is to just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Yeah.
How many $10,000 grants could we do with $11 million? Fuck you, government. Sorry. I had to do it. My bad. I wear the shirt for a reason.
Chektron guy makes me wish I was 20 again so I could join the Marines.
Oh, the Electron guy. I love him. Man. I love him. Good to see you again, Celtic.
Half Pine thinks he's so smart. But no, I had a similar thought was like, well, if you really wanted to do recruitment, you could do that. You already have enough different current or not current veteran, military people.
Hi, GWAT. I'm looking at you.
You have this ability to reach out to them and say, "Hey, would you like to?" I mean, yeah, there could be mismanagement, so you always want to have someone that's
Of
a
course,
go-to
of course.
between DoD
This
and
is just a theory. You know,
yeah,
I'm not even necessarily saying this is something I'm going to do, but it's why aren't we considering that as a possibility as
yeah,
opposed to just doing the same old? We talked about this earlier, the status quo,
yeah,
right? Just pay celebrities to endorse this stuff and put their name to it, and it'll work because it's The Rock, right? And everybody loves Dwayne Johnson. It's like turns out not a fucking lot of people did that like that one.
mm.
So sorry, I'm getting fired up on it. I
No, you're
apologize. I shouldn't get this fired up with
No, you're
damn
fine.
surgery
No,
looming.
that's the point of it, though. That's the point of why you do that, or the conversational point. But I mean, the idea is great because you're taking that. Say, okay, just say it's still $11 million, right? But
Mhm.
you find maybe a dozen different content creators who are either current. Well, maybe I don't know what the legality of it is if you're current, and you're a content creator.
Very that's actually a very good point.
Yeah,
There would have to be some conflict of interest workaround stuff there, but I see where you're going. Go ahead.
well, I would probably stick with people who are out, that the
Mhm.
veterans. I would probably stick with those people just as a safety thing. But you have those people, right? That are content creators that are veterans. You could give them a certain amount that's a livable wage. I mean, if you were to spread, say, 11 million between what, like 20 veterans that are content creators, that can go a long time.
Mhm.
A long time. Now, obviously, there's the discussion of taxes and
Oh, of
kids.
course, of course.
Don't forget, taxes are always involved, even with the content creator sphere. So be smart. All right, be smart.
Definitely do your taxes, folks.
Yeah,
The
I,
government sucks, but they will make your life hell if you don't do your taxes.
do it right and do it early so you have enough time. Do it right and do it early.
And
Just like
do it creatively.
and creatively if you have the means to
But
do it.
smart.
And smart creatively and early. But anyway, but it's like you could have a 20 veterans content creators because they're all spread all over different platforms. $11 million goes a long way for a long time.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that'd be a lifetime for a lot of people.
Yeah,
In that regard, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that, but my goal is with this project wouldn't necessarily be the recruitment's the byproduct. It's the
right.
saving of the lives, giving people the voice to deal with their PTSD or to
Yeah, yeah,
deal with a traumatic moment in their life that just sticks with them and just give them that like for me, I don't know. I always see it as I'm standing on a stage right now.
yeah,
I see the curtain in my peripheral. I could drop it anytime right now. I'm just kidding. But I don't see an audience out there. I know that there's a camera. I know that there's
yeah,
a light. And I know I got a stage, but I don't see the audience. I never get to actually physically interact with them, save for if we're doing a live stream like this, which
yeah.
is always super nice to have that kind of tactile, visceral,
Mm.
real time interaction. But when it comes to just the chat, yeah, I forgot where I was going. God damn it.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, someone like you. I know there's like Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise does stuff
Gary's
for
a big one.
military.
Yep, he's a big one.
And he played military. I don't think he's ever
Mhm.
been in military, so that's kind of funny.
No, but
Um,
Gary is well respected in a
yeah.
lot of the military community
So,
for his help.
so you can have someone. Okay. He is a celebrity,
Mhm.
yes, but he has
He's doing
proven.
it the right way. He's
Yeah,
genuine about it.
yeah, he's proven the work. Let's put
Mhm.
it that way. He's proven the work. So you have someone like that. Then you have someone like you. Then you have a dozen other people behind that regard as well, and that could be used as sort of like part recruitment, part talking, giving.
There could be different like divisions of it. I
Yes.
like where your head's at here because yeah, you could have the grant where the $10,000 grant that goes to the vet that just separates and he's got a good story to tell and blah 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 and maybe something comes of it, maybe something doesn't. But
Yeah,
you're definitely helping these people out. But then there could be somebody who has been out maybe for 2, 3, 4 years,
yeah,
right? Who has this incredible growth or channel or whatever. They just need a little bit of juice, a
yeah,
little bit of help over the edge there and you could bring them on into a military style like radio network,
yeah,
which is something that we've toyed around with the idea before. We have the firearms radio. Well, I shouldn't say we. Um, a very good friend of mine, Sean Heron of the We Like Shooting podcast,
Yeah.
has the Firearms Radio Network. And him and I have no idea how many shows they have on there now. Probably dozens, if not hundreds, of shows
Right.
through that. So, and they're almost exclusively veteran run or not. In Sean's case, which is kind of ironic and hilarious, but still,
Right.
we have a little bit of that in the firearms community. Super
Mhm.
cool. I'm kind of starting to think a little bit bigger than that
Yeah.
now, because not every vet defaults into the firearms community. A lot of us end
Yeah.
up there because
Right.
it's what we know,
Yeah.
but not all of us.
Right.
And a lot of people still have stories to tell. A lot of people still have really cool stories to tell
Yeah.
about just some more of the other elements of
Yeah.
military life. Maintainers, motor pool guys, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I like those stories a lot. And I want to give people, eventually I want to use the power of Tundra at some point in time to drive and push something like that. I'm actually working with some local politicians, or hopeful politicians here coming up soon, that are trying to put me in touch with some DoD contacts to see how viable a pitch for that would be. I have like a 35-page like DoD ready business pitch on this. Like, I'm genuinely serious about doing it one day. I just
Yeah.
got to find the connections and the in to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I would say this though, if you're given, because I know there's like the thing like the whole elevator pitch, you probably just want to condense it down to like,
Oh
you-
yeah.
say like you get him in the hallway and you're doing that walk along. You're getting from that door to
Like
that door. That's all
Talk to
you
me, Goose.
have. You have to bam. You have
Mhm.
to go at it, and you have to hit those points. I'm not gonna say I'm good at this. Okay, I use little
I
tools
like
out
it.
there, but the point of the matter is that I think that's good for a meeting, but if you really want to get in there, you have to get in hard, but you also have to appeal
That's what
to
she
the
said.
nature of, well, that too. You also have to appeal to the nature of the veterans and all that stuff because that is
Very
really
true.
powerful stuff, right? You're talking about the suicidal rate of
Mhm.
veterans, and there's more beyond of those people who,
I mean,
all
there's a
that stuff.
lot of us, but that's a big number too.
Yeah. Dash doesn't like hearing about what jobs people did in the military and what they did after leaving the military. Always interesting. Yes, and
A lot of the times, what happens after the military is even more hilarious than what happens while in the military, folks. I'll tell you that.
and again, that's what this whole thing's a lot. Obviously, the financial backing is a little helpful, but the bigger point is you also want to cast at least a wide enough net because your idea, great. You're one person though, and you'd probably like break it down to other people, but you
Yeah.
want to cat in different areas as well, like we were talking about this, that, and whatever, because you're going to hit on different points. You exist in different areas of you have a central area to exist, but you exist on different parts of what you're going to talk about and stuff. And that creates a network, if you will.
Very
It
good.
creates a big network that has a similar, like a red line that's similar between you all, but it's on different wavelengths enough that it brings back to that one similar chord, and you're able to help on different aspects because I really do think that yes, you do kind of, you the veterans don't get as much help. The VA is sort of a downturn,
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Mm. Oh, we don't want to go there tonight.
I know. I'm just trying to throw it out there as an
I know.
example of what.
By the way, when I say something like that, I feel obligated to mention I hate the VA as an organization, not the people who work for them. I understand the people who work for them are fantastic individuals most of the time, and are genuinely there for the veterans' help. And there are a lot of advocates and advocacy groups that
Mhm.
exist for that assistance and that purpose as well. They're all phenomenal. It's just a broken organization, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, and any human organization is going to be broken to some degree because we're human.
Mhm. Very true.
The obvious point. But no, I think that a idea would have worked great because you're given 11 million for 5 posts from The Rock. That's like if you were an economic, what's the word? Economist,
Economic or
an
an economist. Yeah, an economist.
economist, they would have said that is the worst deal you guys have ever done. That's like a waste of money right
It's
there.
terrible. Yeah, it was such a hollow like gesture.
Doge
Not even gesture.
Doge would have slapped that right out of their hand and witch slapped them across the face and said, "That's a waste of money. You
Yeah.
have 20 people right here you can choose from." Now, obviously, they'll go for well-known veterans and whatnot. They're out there, but you can reach down into
At the end of the day, Tundra's over here just advocating for gun tubers to get paid DoD money.
Yeah, well, but and also more than that, you have again the wide spectrum, the network to build out of that. It's a fantastic idea, but the financial is one of the parts that kind of helps and reaching beyond, because you want
Mhm.
the equipment, you want the ability and all this stuff. It's a lot of sitting down and conversing, but when you can find that pinpoint to
Well,
start work
can I
on,
can I give another aspect of it too?
sure, sure,
For vets,
sure,
we like working towards a goal, an objective, if you
yeah,
will, right?
yeah, that's
Uh, and when somebody gives you a massive amount of cash to start something up, I know a lot. I know most of my veteran friends would feel very obligated to make sure that they did $10,000 worth of work
yeah,
to at least pay back that grant and pay back the effort with. This isn't something I'm just going to go spend on hookers and blow, right? This is, I mean, hey, stranger things have happened. I've seen Sharkies.
Eh,
Uh, if you know, you know.
yeah,
Anyways, where I'm going with this effectively is
yeah,
this is something that I think a lot of my veteran compatriots here would understand, in the sense that when somebody does something nice for you, we're kind of taught when somebody goes out of their way to do you a favor,
yeah,
you either match or double it. You go back and you make sure that they know it's appreciated,
yeah.
and that's kind of how I've always done things. Make
I
sure that whenever somebody does anything,
Yeah,
they either get the same effort and value out of you in return, or you do more.
I would think it's just an idea, and because you don't have the DoD money, here's an idea that's great.
Yet.
Yet a round table of sorts. You could do it however you want. I mean, you'd be your thing, but you'd have a round table of sorts of bringing on different veterans, maybe who's in the content creator, maybe you just know him.
What this is called the Unsub Podcast. It's already a thing, and it is phenomenal.
Ah,
I have toyed with the idea of doing something exactly, well, not exactly like that. I would want it to be slightly different because I don't want to
yeah,
be just ripping off Eli and Brandon and
yeah,
all
yeah,
those guys. So but I have toyed with the idea of doing something similar, but I want to do it actually on the in that regard.
mm,
I don't want to do it with veterans. I want to do it with gun tubers. But I want to do it with not the big gun tubers. I want to do it with the next generation, the up and coming.
mhm,
And I want to give there was a really cool thing that was done for me earlier on that helped grow my brand. The
mhm,
Gun Collective, TGC News, ran
mhm.
a segment called Gun Tuber of the Week,
Oh
and we
wow,
won it one week.
nice.
And it was a massive injection of fans into the channel that really helped. We went from 200 subscribers to 2,200 subscribers overnight. Like, I went to
Wow.
bed, and in that amount of 8 hours of time, I had gotten effectively 2,000 subscribers. It was awesome. I woke up in the morning. I was running around with my shirt off, swinging around, woo, just having a blast. It was one of the greatest days of my life. That
Get
and
your
when we
shirt
hit,
back on.
yeah, probably as my wife was probably telling me at the time. And yeah, so like having a way to pay that moment forward in my life to John Patton. If you ever see this, man, thank you eternally for what you did.
Mhm,
It was the thing that set me on the path. There were a couple of like little signs that I should do this professionally for myself that I noticed and that I saw in my life. There were a few signs that were kind of pointing me towards this, and that was the big one that said like, "Hey, look, people actually like what you're doing." Um, cool. So yeah, we went towards it. So John, thank you very much. If you ever see this,
I
pay it forward. That's what I want to do.
that's what I do almost every Friday is paying it forward on the Rumble end. But to that credit, so I do something of similar, like the round table thing, whatever. But I know a lot of people do round table on like
Mhm.
for Rumble and all this stuff. But I've done collecting the data on issues and wish list stuff that people have on Rumble, and obviously they to some degree they are paying attention, but people like you and I and users and creators and whatnot on the platform need to see visual data of what people are talking about and all this stuff. And obviously,
Oh sure.
I've not got like thousands upon thousands of responses, but I do these surveys that build upon whoever responds to it. And I'll be sharing that data on Saturday. But I've been doing teasers throughout.
Nice.
But the thing of it is like that. There's a lot of people who do a Rumble roundtable of sorts, have Lumpy or whatever, but they don't really do a data collection on the level that I'm doing it. which is you're taking responses of issues, wish list stuff, what they view of the platforms. Is this platform better than this, and all this sort of stuff? The
Mhm.
monetization, all these different aspects of a video hosting site, which Rumble is, and it gathers all those voices together and it shows the collection of that and says maybe the thing, right, maybe the thing that you think is important to you that should be taken care of now is not as important to say the other people that are giving their feedback on. I'll give a great example. There's been a lot of talk from people who want channel points added to the
Mhm.
Rumble side of things and all that stuff. I can tell you from the survey data I've gotten, that is a low bar for many people. It was like fourth or fifth on the list of things that people want taken care of on the platform. Biggest thing was platform stability, was the biggest thing
Very
people
true.
want. Creator and viewer, because I do two surveys, creator and viewer. They wanted platform stability, and then there's other things too. I can show that data. Yeah, again, it's not thousands of people, but it's showing at least something there stating more than not, people want this thing taken care of rather than channel points, which I know is a Twitch thing. I don't think YouTube does their own channel points, but that's
I
a
don't
different
think
thing.
they do.
No, but again, it cuts through the fog of guessing of what people want or have issue with, and showing that maybe, maybe that what you're talking is not the case. And again, the data can prove whatever wrong as well on that regard. It allows visualization where people aren't really getting that from Rumble because again, they have their own thing or whatever, but they don't really share that publicly to show people of like, oh, there's been a bunch of voices saying that this needs to be taken care of, or there's a bunch of voices saying this needs to be added, and that sort of stuff. I do it because of that. But again, I just
It's the California mindset. It's like, move to California, realize California kind of fucking sucks, then move and then try to change everything that you moved to California because that's what you're used to.
yeah, well, people in
Sorry.
Texas and Nevada and all that stuff
They
are
all
learning
do it.
that.
Yeah, everybody does it.
But again, I do it because I want. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna throw too much favoritism at Rumble because that does have its issues. But I have invested in it stock wise. I do want to see this platform get better. Obviously, it has Rumble Studio and all that stuff. But the issue of it is people also need to see something in order to cut through that frustration and anger and all that sort of fog. Because when people have the data right in front of them, how can I argue with it? Right? They can say, "Oh, it's not enough
Very
numbers,
true.
whatever." How it's not enough numbers, or it's the probably bots, whatever. Like I'm using Microsoft Forms to make these surveys for people to take. I have a bunch of people in here who probably have taken the surveys, but again, the data, the data is what I'm using to show. Sitting at a round table and just collecting that. Although I will be
Oh,
this
sure, sure.
Saturday. I will be the Saturday, but it'll be added to that collection of data collected from surveys. It's the tangent, working in tangent stuff. But like you're talking about the roundtable thing, like
Unsub.
unsubbed
Unsubscribe
already,
podcast. Yeah.
unsubscribed podcasts that are doing it. I'm not going to touch it. Just throw your flair to it. Throw
Sure.
your little twist to it and say and claim a bit. That's what I do all the
That's
time.
kind of what we're looking at doing. I should rephrase and say I wasn't going to say not touch the format because just because one person does it doesn't mean another person can't do it. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah,
Nobody owns the rights to a particular broadcast format. Really, like
yeah,
anybody can do it.
yeah,
What I will say is you do have to make it your own. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
thing I don't want to do. Um, I've gone on record so many times saying that I was going to ride Brandon's coattails to fame, and I kind of have. I kind of have. Brandon and I, for those who don't know, Brandon and I go way back. I had him on my show the first time he had 7,000 subscribers or
Wow.
17,000 subscribers.
Huh,
I think he now is 4 million or something like that to that
jeez.
effect. He's my boy. Coolest dude I know. But yeah, it's everybody has a voice.
Yeah,
By the way, I saw Celtic. You said you'd love to do gun tuber stuff, but you don't, courtesy of how much stuff you got going on. I get that, dude, man. Get yourself a phone. Just
yeah.
record, dude. Hit the record button and you do gun tuber stuff. You'd be surprised at what comes out of it and what you could put together. Just experiment and play around and have a blast.
Well,
See
he
if you can do it.
does. He is a man who likes to beat hot metal with his hammer.
That is very true. We've talked many times about exactly that.
So you know what?
Riveting discussion, if you will. Ha ha ha.
You could say it was one railroad spike down the way. No, it was bad.
You went for it though. 100% of the shots you don't take. You
That
missed
that
that
is
one, but hey.
that's true. That's true. I tried to screw that one in, but I'd rather nail it.
Hold on.
That's right.
Or should we go?
That just makes it's too long. It's too when you have something like that, it's too long. It needs to be
You just talk through it.
should do like that. What's that Price is Right one? But like they're the horns that they do when someone
Sure,
loses.
sure, sure. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's just like a stinger.
Yeah.
They're just called stingers.
Yeah, it's just like it's that quick punch of like it's a downturn, but it's like it doesn't take too long.
Like
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah, but that's positive. I'm talking like a negative downturn, like boom, boom, and it's just like
I could
oh,
give you a voice. I could be like,
I don't know, man. Wow, that one went deep.
Hello? Oh, hello. Now we're doing the terrorist voice. You ever do play Counter Strike? Right? Terrorists win.
that's pretty good. 5 out of 10.
you could have done the voice for
Hello.
in a world gone asunder this Christmas.
Oh, you want me to do the in a world? I can do that all day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give me a script. I'll do it.
this summer,
Here, we'll
Jackie
do, here.
Chan no longer can do
Oh
action.
shit, that was really loud. My bad.
You're
Here, hold
fine.
In a world, one man takes on the internet. Dara chats with anybody and everybody under the sun. You're along for the ride. You're watching from the front seat. And god damn it, you're gonna have a good time. Let's
I don't-
roll.
I feel that. It's sort of like that what like someone makes an intro their intro video and that's what you hear and then it plays like this whole actually it's a funny thing. So for I don't know very much about we'll start heading off, but there's this thing where on Rumble you have to have like a placeholder video or whatever. You don't have to. But
You don't have to, but yeah, it's helpful.
so the one I have now is sort of the help from Panda Sub and another I had commissioned. So thank you, Panda Sub, for that. But I've always had this vision in my head of I don't have the technical skills, so and it would cost money to do. But the view of it is sort of like you have a scene. It's dark. In the middle of this darkness, you see an orb, right? You see an orb over this sort of glowing, like sort of floating over this glowing, like gloating light spire, that sort of thing. It's not too strong. It's got a little whatever. But in that orb is sort of my profile pic that you see on the thumbnail, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
But something happens. There's this green light that started a green light ring that goes around that light spire. And then you see a line drawn to another light spire, but now has a different, same orb, but has a different picture in it. And then you see another and another and another, and you see all this sort of green light going to these different, same type of orb, but to the different profile pictures. It's just connecting out from that central point. I'm down to 3-4K. Well, that's good. 0.6 is, being down that. Hopefully you'll get through it quicker. 4K emails is not great. But
Proton email could help you out.
well, I don't know about getting through it quicker, but it will help with the spam part at least.
Spam, yeah.
But it's sort of like this vision is like from the central point, this green light goes out and it hits another PFP, and it's just a PFP of someone who's been on the show, and then another, and it spreads out and it interconnects, and it's all this green light tracing to different PFP orbs, but they're all interconnected in that manner, and that's the vision I have. But it's just so much 3D modeling, whatever. But that's sort of like if I could do a 2-minute video of that with whatever song could fit in two minutes, that's very uppity and whatnot.
You got
That
to
would be
update it
great.
like every quarter to reflect all the new guests and stuff that you've had on.
Yeah, but I mean, once you sent the template, it shouldn't be hard after that.
No.
Building the template is difficult. Using
Copy and paste, my friends.
copy and
Copy and paste.
But then you'd have like then the other part would be you'd have like I'd be in the center, and then you have all these orbs just kind of spinning around, going around, all that stuff, and it's sort of like a concert of spheres, really, and it's just like the interconnectedness of all that through this one thing. There's been this sort of interconnectedness, and the ultimate goal, the ultimate thing that hope one day will lead to is that one day all this interconnectedness will be there, but it won't have to rely on me, so to speak. It'll sort of be able to be its thing
You
without
could
my
say it could hit critical mass. Grows on its own.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, but it keeps that interconnectedness without me having. You could remove me, and it would still
Mhm.
keep its interconnectedness because you always see those things like a business or whatever has that one CEO who creates it. Once he goes, it falls flat on its face.
You see it with sports teams all the time too. It's another great example. Yep, you have a certain
Oh,
coach, you have a GM, and I lost Rumble.
yeah, just refresh, just refresh. It's the two. Yep, 18.
I know how to do this. I've been here before.
Yeah, yeah. I've given them their data for it, and they still haven't fixed it.
Hey, there
So
we
we're
go.
good. They still haven't fixed it yet, unfortunately. But it's just sort of like you want to build this thing where when you go, it will still be just as powerful as when you were there.
Mhm.
It's a thing that feeds, but it's not like feed the beast sort of thing, like YouTube, whatever. It's a culmination of all these people. Yeah, you'll have some bad actors or destroyers or whatever, but guess what? There's more light to that darkness, and these people still come to this place and just all this stuff. And it's not like a religious aspect. It's trying to build the
You're just
land of.
building a community. It's a
It's
literal network.
it's a hub, a place of
Yep.
connectedness. This hub where people come to, and it's not all this stuff. That's just the vision I keep seeing with it. But
I
again,
like it.
it probably costs a lot of money to do that. So I don't have that kind of money.
If
Unfortunately.
I knew how to do that shit, I'd do it for you, bud. But I don't.
Yeah, well, it's nice to share
You ever
once
need
more.
an intro recorded though? I'll do one for you.
And then he said, "Get on down and boogie."
Get on down and boogie.
That's right.
We can do whatever you want. We can do
Mama
any voices. Any
said you can break that.
hail. Oh dang it, dang it! I don't have my thing on. Oh,
Uh-oh.
that's what she said.
Ew.
I got my music running now too. Dang it! I missed the joke. All right, we'll move on.
And that, kids, is how I didn't meet your mother.
Boom.
Oh, yeah, that was a show that fell on itself for that one. But anyway, we are gonna start winding down because again, I do have to set up for tomorrow's stream, and of course, I do have to start going to bed because I do have work in the
This was
morning.
a lot of fun, dude. I want to do this again sometime. I'll be happy to come back on. This was really good time.
Yeah, no, I'll be glad to have you back on again. I always try to bring back people who've been on before, except the ones I can't anymore, unfortunately. But that's again, it doesn't stop at one conversation. There's always more to talk about. It's the fact again, it comes back to that wonderment of looking at the stars and all the things you learn about life itself. It's just
All the possibilities.
then the possibilities are endless. Well, possibilities and opportunities. I kind of see it as both. But yes. But anyway, Neuro, if you're in the chat, can you please pull up his links? But first, we're gonna do our promotion stuff, and then who's coming on tomorrow, and then all that stuff, and then we'll kind of just end out. But again, sir, with your fabulous voice of drawing in people, sell it,
Appreciate you, my friend.
sell it like
Oh, you want me
mean
to send it off? You want me to send it off?
it. Yeah, you're promoting your stuff. Promote it.
Oh, I'm promoting myself. Well,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen of the Tundra, or not of the Tundra Nation, of Dara Nation, if you will. Can you tell I've said that once or twice before? If you enjoyed the show tonight, first of all, make sure you're liking this video and make sure you're hitting the follow button. Do all the things that you're supposed to do as a social media viewer, right? I'm just kidding.
Right.
Do what you want to do. But if you do like it, hey, show some support when you can. So first of all, thank you to Dara and having me as a guest on. Secondly, you can find me over at the socials, all that fun stuff. I exist here on Rumble, pretty exclusively. We post other places too, but pretty exclusively here on Rumble at Tundra Tactical, and that is where I'd prefer if you showed up. If you couldn't find us there and you'd love to go on X, the blue check mark Tundra Tacta 1, the number 1 is us. Hello, my friends. Thank you for tuning in.
There you go. Yeah, and his links are all down below. I'm waiting to see if Nero will bring them up, but it's usually a bit of a delay. But again, both his links are on both ends, so either Rumble or YouTube, either or, you'll find it there. And again, he is a big 2A gun tuber, but the man has a. Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Nero. But the man has so many different other aspects and experiences that you have the possibility of asking about. Maybe he'll talk about his military stuff. You never know. There are probably some stories you don't want to hear about, but there you go.
You get me drunk enough.
No, well.
You get me drunk enough, I'll tell you how I tried to invade North Korea once.
Oh, yeah, well,
by
that's
myself.
oh, good lord. DMZ passing it was. But again, follow on X. Oh, there you go. Look at that. There you go.
Mwah. Thank you.
But again,
Chest kiss. Mwah.
his links are down below. And if he's worth a follow, why not? Right, if he's
There
worth
you
a
go.
follow, why not? But again, from my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or the YouTube side, because I do stream to both and I do put my content in both. Um, if you would mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated, because not only does it help in being seen more, like all content creators want to be, right? We'll be honest with that. It also helps in having other people on, like Tundra, like Tomby, who's also he's English, but he's also was in the Royal Navy. Um, I've also had Sergeant Wilkie, who's also been in the military. I've had Ericonda Force TV. I've had on Cams. I've had on SVG. I've had on uh, Enemy Kill, something like that. I can't remember his username. I've had on so many different current and current and out of it military people. So again, this is the opportunity it provides me. Again, creator or not creator, like, it doesn't matter. It's just a place to come and talk about whatever. Because again, why not?
Why not, man?
We,
That's a good question. Why not?
why
What's
not?
stopping you from having a conversation with somebody?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already have enough people talking about politics and entertainment. Why not talk about whatever we want?
Sure.
Because it gets kind of boring when you have to keep hearing, "Oh, Hollywood's destroying us again." Well, they only survive because you keep giving them money.
Mhm.
So take away the power that they only have. But we're not going to get into that. But anyway,
Hey,
anyhow,
space lasers are a real thing. Like, I'm just kidding. This is a whole other conspiracy theory.
they'll fix
Just kidding.
They'll fix my eyes right from space itself. But again, any help with the engagement factor on either Rumble or YouTube is much appreciated, of course. And thank you to Nora as well. I have a link down below. This link leads to my Twitter X. It leads to my email, business email, because I have an actual email, but I don't, which you have, but I don't give that out to regular folk. But I also have a link to my Discord. It's just mostly for DMing. I don't have a server. There's only so much mental bandwidth I have to do all this stuff, and I
Ain't
want
that
to
the truth?
and I want to enjoy doing this thing rather than overwork myself to like a burnout. For me, if I had the ability to, I'd rather do this than my actual job. But I do know that relying on just one end of things, it can turn into disaster. And if I did make enough to do this thing, and someone asked me this, I'd still have a part-time job, because at least you can be flexible enough with a part-time job that it won't matter much. So, but that's just me. But again, link down below, at least my other links. You'll find me all the places, and the Rumble and YouTube link as well. And thank you all for that stuff. And of course, uh, I do have, again, a part of the Proton partner program. That's 3 Ps in 1, which is kind of interesting. It's P to the power of 3. Uh, but again, Proton Mail is part of the Proton company, where they're VPN, mail, drive. They even have password manager, all this stuff. But again, the link, thank you, the link, you'll go to this link, it'll take you to the Proton Mail one. You can check out all the stuff they have to offer. There's a paid, there's a free version. Again, I offer it because, one, they don't sell your stuff and they don't have ads for the thing. So you get the free ones where they bombard you with ads all day long or whatever. This doesn't. They actually help in defending against spam, which is another part. They help defend against spam or the scammy stuff, all that. And even if something gets through, it will let you know, like, hey, maybe this is phishing, maybe this is that. And then you have that. And the last thing is that it allows you to make an alias email. What is that? It's sort of like a mask, right? It's a mask to the real face. This mask, the alias email, will direct to your actual email. But if a site gets a little too spammy or they get a little too comfortable, whatever, guess what? You can just turn it off like a switch and delete it. And you don't have any more problems with it anymore. At the end of the day, like I said with Billy Mays, I use this product and I'm promoting the product because I believe in what they do. And again, try it out for yourself if you want, and if not, that's okay. Yes, I do. I do get the opportunity to make a little money off it, but again, I'm not a good marketer. I'm not a good seller. There are a lot of people who are better than me, but I do it because I promote the product that I use, and I believe will be much helpful to a lot of people who use like AOL, iCloud, Gmail. If you have YouTube, dear Lord. If people want to complain about all the stuff that, like the Rumble Premium or the Rumble Studio for the creator program, YouTube makes you sign up for their Google Gmail. You cannot use YouTube without a Gmail account. How ridiculous is that? So anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate you all. And again, you don't want to check it out, that's fine. Just something I promote because I believe in the product. So again, thank you for that as well. And
I was
tomorrow,
just digging. I was just looking at it right there.
yeah, the and again, you'll see there's a column where there's like different prices and stuff. They offer more if you pay, but you can also get a free account. No
There you
skin off
go.
your back. But again, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern is the 60th Pay It Forward stream.
Hey,
It's where I go around. Oh, and you were a recipient for one of them. I think that's how I met you, through
I
one of
think
them.
so.
And what happens is I stream to both Rumble and YouTube, but I go through the Rumble side of their live streams, like their live stream category. It's not live stream gaming, live stream whatever. It's just the whole of the live stream. I go through, I find some people, like I pick a person per page. I leave, some, hey Toasty, I leave some encouraging words, and I might leave a dono here and there. At the end of the day, it's about, paying it forward without expecting anything in return. Because I don't. Sometimes I'll donate to somebody as long as they're not like a bot or 24/7 stream. The point of the matter is, though, is that it showcases not only to other Rumble people, but also showcases to other people on YouTube that Rumble is an option to have. Yes, like you said earlier, if you're a YouTuber, and I've heard this a lot of times for other YouTubers, like, if I come to Rumble, I'm gonna lose money. It's like, why are you creating that? You got to take a risk, and it's a risk are not easy. But just imagine what.
That is not. You're very correct in that.
But they wouldn't be a risk without a possible reward, and that's the point of why you take risks. Not always, but sometimes. And Rumble is worth it, despite its despite its issues, which it does have plenty of, including Rumble Studio. I understand that. At the end of the day, though, I see the bright future still of what Rumble can be, and it's worth at
Go
least
Team
trying.
Green. It is. It's worth a try.
It's
It
worth
is.
a try.
If you guys are content creators over on YouTube and you end up listening to this, I left 124,000 subscribers over there to come over here and start fresh.
And
it's worth it.
And it wasn't that he wanted to. He was forced.
I was forced. I was deplatformed. Yep.
Yeah. And they will. And it's a funny thing, right? They talk about views and they talk about money. The YouTubers that are looking at other platforms like Rumble. At the end of the day, they'll say like, oh, you don't get enough views on Rumble, and again, everyone experiences the platform differently, or you don't get enough money. Well, guess what happens when YouTube takes away your ability to make money? Or, as a while back with someone I had on, his name is Ryan Roger Athe, who had his entire account deleted, and there's no recourse to get it back. YouTube just.
Not only that, they've argued both ways. In court, they argue that they're a public forum and cannot be held financially or legally liable for things said on that platform. And then they go back and they get to have their cake and eat it too when they have effectively the ability to censor content in a public forum. It's the most ludicrous experience I've ever gone through once I went down that rabbit hole. And I do not advise people, if you live in even a moderately controversial space, don't even try with YouTube. It will be dead. 8 to 15 minute videos in their long form are dead in 5 years anyways. So move to where the live streaming is and where short form's going.
Well, you do have TikTok too, but that's sort of.
Yeah, that's your short form right there.
But again, for all its intricacies and faults, Rumble at least is trying. I'll give them that. But I've always said
and
that
they're sticking to their guns, their principles too, is freedom of speech, man. Just abject freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm. I've always stated, I will praise Rumble when it does well, but I will also admonish when it does poorly, because if you can't be honest about a platform, like many people would like to be about YouTube or Twitch or whatever, then how can you even be on the platform itself? It needs to allow the ability to be honest which it was YouTube is what he was on.
YouTube, yes. Yep.
Yeah. But
And
again,
we do still occasionally post over there, but we prioritize Rumble.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's never good to completely abandon a platform.
Yeah.
You do want to maintain a presence. And very frankly, I would love to waste as many man hours of their time as I possibly can.
Do it.
Just out of spite.
And if you can make pennies off it, why not?
Yep, exactly. I still make a couple bucks off it. I pull about $100 a month off of it. So
I don't think he was talking like he was being an actual core. I think he was talking about something else.
Yeah, no.
It was like a news thing, right, or something different.
I can't even remember what I was talking about at this point. My ADD is that bad.
You were talking about like the YouTube was talking like it could be a publisher platform, but
excuse me. So yes, so YouTube argued in court, in actual court. I wasn't in this court, but in my research in trying to build some evidence against YouTube for maybe future litigation, I did actually find that yes, they have argued in court, and this is well documented at this point, that they are a public forum, and the court ruled that they are a public forum. Well, the problem with a public forum is you cannot censor what happens in a public forum.
Yeah.
There are laws against that. And so our argument is, why do they get to choose whether or not my content is ad appropriate, age restricted, or even completely pulled if they're arguing that they're a public forum?
Yeah.
And that is the base level of that argument. That's a whole nother show by itself.
Oh yeah. But again,
all good, Frog. Just trying to catch you up to.
Yeah. And it's just,
I get really spicy about that topic real quickly.
So spicy, they call him the jalapeno. And she's fought and had my YouTube channel reinstated, but it was a nightmare. Yeah, a lot of content creators do. But it's like you have to go to a third party platform to actually get any notice. And even then it's still like an AI response.
Yeah.
It's still like a bot response. I'm just like, ugh. But again, you know what? Even if it's not just Rumble, be on more than one platform. Dear Lord, people, you have to understand, if you have the tools right now that allow you to be on more than one platform, being on one platform only is no longer viable. I don't care what anyone says. I will fight this to my very last breath. Being on, I don't care if it's just two platforms, if you do like I do, being on one platform, the mantra is being on one platform is no longer viable. I get it. I get the YouTube thing. I get the Twitch thing. Guess what happens when they take it away? It's no longer viable.
Yep. And we were talking very early on in managing your expectations. One of the things that I did very, very well is I knew that was a possibility at all times. And so I was prepared for it when it happened. And we had stuff in place that helped mitigate some of the loss. It was still very lean living for a very long time. And I did almost lose the house. So it sucks. But if we've been able, because of Rumble and the support that we've gotten here, we've been able to bounce back, and we owe you guys a lot. Dara, I got to get rolling though here in about 5 minutes.
Sorry, no, you're but anyway, for the record, I've never created content. I never uploaded. Understandable. That's YouTube is very
they're dumb.
Blase. Well, it'll be a while before they're done because it's Google, but it'll get there eventually. But anyway, that is the end. Oh well, I can't do. We'll save that for another time. I'm not gonna do questions on the hat because he's gotta get going, and so do I. So, but again, thank you all for being here, chat. Thank you for being here as well. Again, tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern.
There's always next time, right?
Always next time. Tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern for the 60th Pay It Forward stream with, of course, a PNG tuber. Acorn Valley Farms is coming on tomorrow. I believe after.
They just followed me on Twitter. I'll have to check in on that. All right, excellent.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's coming on tomorrow.
I knew that name sounded familiar. I think they just followed me on Twitter. I'll definitely check in.
Swamp Ginger is the other name, but I'm just going with the one they had.
Fair enough.
That'll be tomorrow. Again, thank you, Jeff, for being. No, you're fine. Frog Spring. Thank you again, all for being here, and of course, thank you again for your time there, Tundra. It's been awesome, and of course, you're always
happy
welcome
to be on,
back.
man.
Always welcome back.
I will take you up on that. If I'm low, I see my mantra is I never say no to a show. Every opportunity is an opportunity. Everything that I do is an opportunity here, and whether it's business, friends, networking, what have you, it's always something. And today has not disappointed, my friend. You run a great show. I had a lot of fun, so thank you for having me on.
Man, I try. But anyway, I end the show. Of course, you saw the music video earlier, but I end the show with another one called One Day With You by Pogo. Hope you have a whole great rest of your night. and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye.